Hello and good evening.
What? Another episode. Let's do it. New Year's Eve party, everybody. Let's get started.
Johnny's hyped up.
Yeah, I got my own shut for this episode. Let's do it. You have a drink with you right now?
Yes, I'm drinking a Narragansett.
Pull up that camera right now. Pull it up.
I really be up here right now.
Yeah, you got yours. You got mine. We've done another year with this
chat
channel.
so everybody can see the debauchery that we're embarking in. There we go.
We got another one. We're never gonna know what Ryan looks like. I just assume he looks like queso, and then that's it.
Give me 1 second.
That's just cruel.
Let me do this, and then I'll show you that I'm also raising my glass.
My white balance is off, but that's fine.
Your what?
The white balance on my camera is off for some reason.
There it is. This is very smooth. I made this just right.
There you
Probably
go.
a bunch of other stuff in this too.
Hang on.
There it is. He posted
Ryan's
a picture. You got a picture posted.
with his beverage there.
There it is. You got mixed uppers and downers for this episode. We're going to need the chemical assistance with this. We're talking about the Anarchs today. I look like shit. I'm sorry. It's
No,
just
you're
how I
fine,
naturally look.
dude. Don't worry about it.
No, it ain't easy being this greasy.
And it easy being cheesy.
Wait. I'm actually eating a big damn bowl of mac and cheese while I'm doing
The mac and cheese.
Because I did not eat before the episode, so.
There it is. This is gonna be a fun one. This is the episode that nobody wanted to guest spot for because they knew they were going to rant the entire time. So we get to do it like we did before a year ago. It's just us three. Because
we're going
there
classic mode.
There it is. All classic mode. You get all my classic catchphrase. I get to say all right. I get to say gotcha. I get to say there it is. You get all three of my verbal
tics.
We get
to make jokes about Alice's restaurant.
Alice's restaurant.
And the Camarilla came in and showed us all the glossy pictures with all the marks and crosses on it.
And I saw that the judge, when it was an Anarch, and knew it was going to be a case of American blind justice. All right, let's get into this. All right, let's do it. Let's do another cheer. Merry New Year's. Happy New Year's, everybody. There it is.
Happy New Year's.
I'm going to say, well, everybody's doing this new trend of celebrating New Year's. Maybe you're celebrating 2 years, 2 more years of the Donald.
2 more years? Why 2 more years?
2 years? He ain't gonna come back and do the tournament and quit halfway. You fake fan, you said you love Eric Andre and you don't know what bit I'm referencing.
No,
you don't. So I know poser right there. Let's get into it. Let's stop fucking around with the cameras. All right. Let's get on what we're talking about. We can still see you. Taking a bite of that mac and cheese. Taking a bite of that crackaroni.
But
alright.
Everybody else sees the Anarch book.
Everybody else sees the Anarch book. Alright, let's get into it. We're going to talk about the dumbest people in the entirety of the world of darkness, the Anarchs. Kyle, you an anarchist?
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Are you a God-fearing anarchist?
Can you be a God-fearing anarchist?
Let's see. There is no society without God at the center of it. Ain't possible. Ryan, are you an anarchist?
Legally, I have to say no.
Nope. And everybody knows on this channel that I'm a Roman Catholic. I want God to rule the country. And the reason why I bring this up is that there is a lot of backstory when it comes to the Anarchs and why they're in this book. So you know how World of Darkness is a mafia simulator at the end of the day. It took us a minute to figure out how you're supposed to play this game, but it's ultimately a mafia sim. You come in, you're the Illuminati, you're the Knights Templar. In the case of Giovanni, you are the Italian mafia. You come in, you make the money, you take the blood, you get business, you get paid, and you make sure that nobody figures out what you're doing. That's the basic gist of Vampire. Where I know this, Kyle knows this, Ryan knows this. We've all played Vampire multiple times by this point.
Yeah.
And so let me ask, where does being a brick-throwing Antifa member fit in that game?
When you're not an Antifa member and you're just an anarchist.
When you're just an anarchist. We're back in the... When did Anarchs even get introduced? Like 1994 is when I believe they're introduced. And you had this faction where it was based off of left-winger political movements back in the 90s. But the reason why you have goths in this game with the hollow ones and just about every Toreador drawing, it's because that this is a game of its time. And being a game of its time, it was looking at all these left-winger movements where some of them are better than others, like the Black Furies talking about feminism. Like, yes, women should have rights. But then you look at the Anarchs, and you're rebelling, but against what necessarily? Kyle, what exactly was there to be upset about back in the 90s? What kind of stuff did you have to hate?
Well, in the if you believe the doctrine of the 1990s, escaping the cruel, cold drudgery of, the shackles of corporate America, and just slowly trying not to, trudge your way through to an existential crisis that, that starts you, starting an underground fight club or becoming a computer hacker or throwing yourself off a ledge.
But so it was all this stuff where you're living in the shadow of Ronald Reagan's presidency, where he did get you off shrinkflation, he got you through the Cold War, but at the cost of a lot of people being left behind. And along with that, with the war on drugs, AIDS going around, a lot of people that were in the left side who just wanted to be left the hell alone got shat on, and it caused a lot of disdain, to my understanding. I get most of this information from Sean, who was a kid during this time, and got to see this shit going on because he grew up in New York. And I gotta correct it now for you. It's 1993 is when they introduced the Anarchs. And they had Bill Bridges write this book where he's talking about the Anarchs, and they get introduced where you have this historical event called the Anarch Revolt, right? And you need to expand upon this group known as the Anarchs because they play a pivotal role into why the Camarilla exists. But then nobody wanted to play as them. And everybody's White Wolf was looking around saying, "You want to play as this bomb-throwing leftist radical? Well, why don't you want to do that?" So what they did is that they got this book, got to Anarchs, and released it in 2002, where it was in development for way longer than that, because after all, how long did it take for the Wendigo book to get published? And they got in their dream team. They got in Justin Akili, where Surgeon's General warning when you see that man's name printed on a book. Carl Bowen, Noah Dudley, John Goff, Jeffrey Grabowski, Michael Mirals, Astrid Mosler, and Ari Marnell, where Astrid and Ari, I can't pull up anything that they've done. But they bring these guys out and they try astroturfing the Anarchs as much as possible. They try to make these guys something good guys. And yet, even in their own book, even in the book that's promoting their ideology and their faction, they get felted so many times. It comes across as this book of idiots. That why would you want to play as these guys? They don't have any real accomplishments. They have no real territory, and all they do is just go around and cause issues. But you should still want to play as them because they're Justin's favorite. Justin loves talking about the Anarchs. When he goes on interviews, he wants to talk about just how amazing and righteous and virtuous the Anarch faction is, and how he wants to shit on the Camarilla, that it's corrupt and it's oppressive, which it is, but not to the degree that somebody who's an anarchist stan goes out and tries to make it sound. And then they made Anarchs Unbound for V20, where Justin was part of that project again with a team of other writers that had no real business running for Vampire because they weren't part of the original staff. And that book was filled with so much bullshit, Kyle. This is the only time you're going to hear me bring this up because that book, I was reading it and I was genuinely disgusted with what I was reading in it. It might as well just be like apology guide for left-wing terrorism is what's in that book. It's... You know, that's as far as I'm going to go with that. I'm not going to talk about anything else because that book isn't worth any sort of attention. If you see that book on a store shelf in a game store, just go ahead and shoplift it and throw it into a garbage bin. That's what you got to do with it. Because I think, I'm not a book burner, so to speak, but I think like some of the ideas in that book are genuinely harmful and nobody really should read that.
Such
and
as?
Then that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like apology for still like Antifa and like Occupy Wall Street, where it wants to like go around and say, in this game, we're facilitating an environment where you can LARP about throwing a Molotov cocktail through the window of a 7-Eleven, and you're the good guy for doing that. You're a good guy for going around destroying property, destroying government equipment, going around wanting to kill that politician, kill that CEO, kill that guy that says the thing that you don't want to say. And you can do that because the Anarchs are fighting for a just cause. Good to rebel. It's good to have no sort of basis that you want to fall on. It's good to want to tear down a system and replace it with nothing. That's a virtuous thing that they want to do. Where we're seeing that today. We're living in a time where our president-elect has had 3 different assassinations attempts on his life.
Well, the thing is, like, outside of the context of like the real world, I understand why the next book you aren't a fan of, but in this book, I feel like it's not so much just the system itself, or well, not so much just everyday people, because vampires don't give a fuck about that. As long as they're on top, they're the apex predator of mankind. they're fine. They don't got to worry about that.
Yeah.
I was more under the impression that the Anarchs were more concerned about the system of governance within the vampire society itself, within the Crown of Thorns and all that they
And
control.
that's what it is. That you're right about that. In the original White Wolf Run game series, that is what they were. But in V20, written by a radical leftist and his group of people that never worked on the original project, it turned into a group of left-wingers who threw bricks and bombs at people. And that's all it became. And then come V5, where nobody who worked on the original team besides Justin got to write it. Justin got his little wish of turning the Anarchs into the good guys because he went in with V5 and he shat on the Camarilla. He shat on the Sabbat. He hates both factions. He didn't write either of those. He wanted nothing to do with them. And he took the Anarchs and he put them up on a pedestal and said, these are the good guys. These are the guys you're playing as by default. You should play as the Anarchs. You shouldn't play as the Camarilla. And the Anarchs are the good guys because they brought in the kid-diddling drug addict Setites into her faction. And he got to have his star way with it, where nobody did anything to challenge Justin. It was just Justin's way with everything. You have been gaslit into liking the Anarchs. This is a faction that is shit. You know vampires are referred to in other splats as parasites. Anarchs are parasites to the parasites. They contribute nothing. They don't try to hold up the masquerade the same way that the Camarilla does. They go out of their way to try to fight and tear down the Camarilla. But they do the exact same shit the Camarilla does while claiming that they hate everything they do and it's an oppressive system. They hate the Sabbat, where the Sabbat is at least trying to save the world from Gehenna. It comes at the expense of just about every human life, but they're at least trying to do something virtuous. And at least are bringing in other clans that have been left behind, like the Salubri and the Cappadocians, and are forming paths of enlightenment to fight the beast. The Anarchs have nothing, dude. This faction sucks. And so many people that go into V5 and have no idea what the original script is, or what the Anarchs were supposed to be back in the original run, look at these guys and think unironically that this is the hero faction. This is the shit you've got.
I understand the disdain for the intent of the W20 writers, but with the faction as a whole, like, doesn't that say something about, like, the cost of revolution? If Sean were here, he actually introduced me to a channel called Flapper, and one of the videos on it was Russian Revolution, good thing or bad thing. Running a revolution is like playing the ladder. Goodness, playing the lottery. Yes. You're either going to get something where it's like, you win with the American Revolution, and the guys that started the whole thing actually had a good idea of what they were doing. Or it's the French Revolution where it gets hijacked by some fucking nutcase and turns it into a religion of chopping people's head off. Or it's the Russian Revolution and it gets replaced with a system that's, eminently fucking worse in every conceivable way. Which I think is how an Anarch game should be played. Everybody comes in with the idea of the Anarchs that they think that they're the good guy in it. But ultimately, you're not. But that's the point, is that every other faction, they hurt people. They know they hurt people. The Camarilla want to uphold the masquerade and keep a stranglehold on the human population. The Sabbat want to stop the apocalypse and defeat the antediluvians with the Holy Jihad. Who cares gets hurt in that? At least we're trying to save the world. The Anarchs, are the disheveled and run down of Cainite society that never got a chance to taste the power that the Camarilla could potentially offer them. So they've taken it upon themselves to try and change the system. But the only problem is, do they ever actually establish what they're trying to do and how the system would be different in the first place? Or maybe you just have some power-hungry people like, a Ventru anti-tribu or a Tremere anti-tribu that just wants it all for themselves. And I feel like that is how an Anarch book should, or how an Anarch story should
you look at the
played.
Anarchs, and every single member of the Anarchs is a Judas. They're a Cain. They hate their own kind and are doing everything they can to screw them over while saying that they're virtuous and just. And if we had it your way, Anarchs, we wouldn't have vampires because you would have breached the masquerade and we all would have died to the Second Inquisition. That's how it would happen. And you're truer to the spirit of Cain than the Sabbat are, because you do everything you can to screw over your fellow man in the pursuit of your own personal happiness. But Justin wants to tell you that these are the good guys. This is what I mean with it, where I like the Anarchs as villains, but don't even think for a second that these are the heroes. These are not heroes. This is not what a hero looks like. Well, like I'm playing Insta in our live play, and I know she's a bad person. I'm not trying to justify her actions at all. But the Anarchs will try to piss in your leg and tell you it's raining. Where no, I hate this shit. I hate it when somebody tries to tell me that a very clear-cut evil villain is the good guy. You remember like all the people like when Endgame came out that Thanos was doing the right thing? He was doing the right thing about genociding half the universe.
See, everybody says
Yeah.
that about Thanos, but then they realized that Ultron was on the internet for 15 minutes and realized it all had to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, everybody's looking like, why is this very political? Well, Vampire is an explicitly political game. If you're saying, I don't want politics in my World of Darkness game, you haven't been paying attention to a World of Darkness. This game is explicitly political. But, yeah, what I'm really just mad about is just like, if I didn't know any better, I'd say like Justin was playing a long game trying to say, we're going to take Vampire, we're going to tear it down, and we're going to turn it into my vision. Which is exactly what he did with V5, but I'm not crazy. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that you fucking backstabbed everybody that you worked with at White Wolf. I'm not going to say that. Not my words. Let's get into the history. All right. So, 14th century was a terrible time to be a vampire. But our story starts in the 13th century. 1231 AD. You had Pope Gregory the 19th. What 19th? 9th, sorry. And he says, I am going to fund something that we're going to call the Inquisition. I am going to pump as much money as possible into the church. I'm going to employ all these people that are here to hunt vampires, and that is your day job. And we're going to go around and we're going to make sure that every vampire on the planet dies. And it's going to be beautiful, and the people that will spearhead my organization will be known as the Society of Saint Leopold, where they formed from the martyrdom of a dead Saint Leopold who was brutally murdered by vampires and whose death caused the Inquisition to happen. And may we slap the vampire that did that upside the head because you almost destroyed everything. You kill... Isn't that like how the butterfly effect works? You kill one guy and you don't think anything of that death, and that turns out to be that's what starts your downfall. Where
Yeah,
you remember
it's the butterfly effect.
World War I started because somebody killed Franz Ferdinand, and that should have been a war between two countries, but turned into an entire continent-spanning war because everybody had to be friends with everybody.
The moral of that story is don't make friends.
Same thing with the Arab Spring, where one guy sets himself on fire, and now you have this tumultuous situation that still hasn't been resolved in the Middle East. And so what happens during this Inquisition? You have the Dominicans and you have the Franciscans. The Franciscans aren't that important, but the Dominicans are these fanatics that take their job of hunting down vampires super seriously and are doing a very good job at it. Canaanites want to tell you just how dangerous they are, where, oh, I have vicissitude, I can turn you into a chair, I have obtenebration, I can drag you into hell with my shadow. You attack these guys during the sun, while the sun is up, what happens? What happens, Kyle?
Oh, they turn into ash and die.
You just walk up to this man while he's sleeping, stab him in the chest with a stake, that's it. That's it, that's all you gotta do. Or just throw his body out in the sun, and then that's it. You are the deadliest thing when the sun is down. You are shit when the sun is up. Your time to shine is in the winter, but in the summer, that's when humanity comes and kills you by the dozen. And around the year 1300, Canaanites of Europe were looking over at the Society of Leopold and saying, we got a massive issue here. We're not going to last much longer. The Society of Leopold just has seemingly infinite resources. They're going to kill us all eventually. And this is spearheaded by the Society of Leopold going into Spain, finding a bunch of Bruja, La Sombra, and Ventru, and start killing them in droves. This causes the elders of those three clans to mass embrace a bunch of Canaanites that were meant to be used as decoys. They then took those decoys, swapped out their bodies with them while they day slept, fled to somewhere else, and then let those Canaanites die in their place. Now, why couldn't you guys just run off into the country? Werewolves, right?
Oh yeah, pretty much.
In fact, you had werewolves all over the place. You had Red Talons and Gera Fenris at the peak of their power, going around killing people during this time. And you had Black Furies, Children of Gaia, and Glasswalkers in the church aiding in these hunts. It was an incredible, terrible time to be a vampire. And during this time, 1381, a mortal named Wat Tyler, Wat Tyler, Tyler. I typed in this guy's name. No, he's real. This was actually a real person. And he writes this. He led the peasants' revolt in England, and in his time, he goes over to Canterbury. He storms it. He occupies a portion of London and demands that the monarchy be reformed. And he meets. Some of his demands are met, but then he's captured and executed. His wife, on the other hand, is in prison. A Bruja elder named James. So, what a name, right? Look out for James.
Hey, it's a name that strikes fear into the heart of every man.
Yes. Ryan, you gotta look out for that vampire Keith. He might kill you.
I'm always aware of anyone named Keith.
Anyone named Keith. Keith, if your name is Keith, you're a killer. And what happens is that this wife is embraced. She takes on White Tyler's name, pretends to be a man, and then flees from the prison while her husband is executed. And she runs all the way down to Spain, where the Society of Leopold just happens to be. I don't know, a little unfortunate to be here, right? She ends up meeting a Hardstadt the Eldest while she's down there. Hal, you remember during the Ventrue video we talked about Hardstadt?
Yeah, he was a motherfucker.
Yeah, this is the good Hardstadt. This is the good guy Hardstadt.
Oh, okay.
And Hardstadt brings Miss Tyler in, and he's telling her about all these plans he has. He says, I am looking outside, and it's a shame that we gotta make all these decoys, but it's a means to the end, because I'm creating something called the Camarilla. I'm creating this super organization. It's going to be multiple clans. We call ourselves the Spanish word for the back scratchers. No, I'm not kidding you. That's what Camarilla translates to, the back scratchers.
That's a dumb fucking name.
That sounds a little gay, don't it?
A little bit.
I scratch my nuts, you scratch yours. And Tyler is listening to this saying, you know what? It sounds a lot like the Marquis that killed my husband. So her normal reaction is that she kills Hardstadt. She just kills him.
Nice. Good shit.
Just simple, just murder.
Yeah, she just kills Hardstadt because I think your idea sucks. That's enough justification to kill somebody, apparently. And his death causes a massive power vacuum in Spain where he dies. And not only was Hardstadt killed, he was diabolized as well. So Tyler goes around, causes all this shit to happen in Spain, and every Spanish Bruja looks at that and says, "Oh, dude, she just killed a Ventrue. We could do that too." And all these Ventrue start getting killed and diabolized by these Bruja. They're looking for an excuse to kill Ventrue. It's this massive frenzy where they're all killing each other. And the Society of Leopold comes in and says, "Hey guys, are you forgetting something?" Smash, and all those Bruja die. But a few of them manage to escape. And they just sat around all pissed off, and they would become known as the Anarchs. And this whole incident would become known as the Anarch Revolt. Now, what happened during this time? Nothing. Nothing really happened after 1381. You had all these Bruja that were just going around talking about how much they hated their sires, and how they said that the Jus Noctis, the only law of the vampires during this time, which was, I'm older than you, I tell you what to do, was this oppressive, disgusting rule that needed to be abolished and replaced with anything else. But this being the Bruja, none of them had any better ideas. Nobody had an alternative to the Jus Noctis. So they're all stewing, just pissed off about everything, as you know Bruja are. And eventually, the Spanish La Sombra are looking at them saying, these guys are all angry, these guys are all pissed off. What are you guys all mad about? Oh, just vampire elders, they suck. They suck. No, Methuselah should tell us what to do. Nobody should tell us what to do. And La Sombra are thinking, you know what, you're kind of right about that. We La Sombra have this whole ritual where we're hazed and our lives are ruined by our elders before we can join the La Sombra. We kind of agree with that sentiment. And while the Bruja are over here stewing, this is just referred to as the Bruja problem, while the La Sombra go off and do the real work, the La Sombra begin thinking, how can we do what the Bruja are talking about, but unlike the Bruja, actually make some progress? You remember during the La Sombra episode we talked about one Gratiano de Verones?
I remember it was really dark during the La Sombra episode. That was a while ago.
Yes, that was 2 years ago, actually. Gratiano looks over and says, I've got a plan. I am the very last vampire that La Sombra ever embraced, and I hate him. And I share your sentiments where I hate La Sombra and I hate all these elders that I share blood with, and I want to see them all die. So in 1400, he begins helping the Anarch movement, where he's going around hiring some of these Bruja to cause shit in Italy, while he goes around in the shadows, and he starts talking to all these Italian La Sombra saying, hey, I got this plan. I got this plan to diabolize La Sombra. If I diabolize La Sombra, I can break the blood bond. And I can set all of us free, and we can go off and do whatever we want as vampires. And in order to make sure this plan goes off without a hitch, we need one more diversion. These Bruja are dying a little too quickly. Assamites. That's what I need. He goes over to the Assamites, where Ursholgi and Hakim are asleep during this time. They're not around to tell anyone what to do. Well, Gratiano pays them this big stack of money, and the Assamites run into Italy and start causing shit. They're going around mass diabolizing whatever vampire they come across, and all the other clans are looking at them going, hey, yo, what the fuck? Who brought Assamites in here? Some of these vampires, keep in mind, don't know what an Assamite is. They don't know this combination of disciplines. They don't know what this clan is. When was the last time a Toreador interacted with an Assamite during this time? Exactly. So they have no idea how to deal with these guys. Meanwhile, close to 50 years later, it's 1446, so 46 years later, Gratiano's plan goes off. He finally tracks down where the Bruja are in Spain, and he pumps a bunch of money into them and says, hey, I'm going to pay you guys this much money, just go ahead, do whatever shit possible. I'm starting as many fires around Europe as possible to throw people off my trail so nobody knows what's going on, nobody's talking about this in the Havens. The Bruja go off and do what the Bruja do, and then 35 more years later, he stews a little bit more, and finally, he picks up the Bruja that were still alive and were worth a damn, the Assamites, and his most trusted men. He goes in to where he believes the La Sombra Antediluvian is resting. He runs in, kills everybody, runs all the way over to La Sombra's body, diabolizes him, and in doing so, shatters every blood bond. Everyone is now free of their blood bonds. Nobody has to do what an elder tells them to anymore in the Sombra. And Gratiano looks over at the clan and says, you're free. I will not take the place of La Sombra. You go off, you do whatever you want. I don't care what you do. We're free at last. Thank God that we're finally free at last. And the entirety of La Sombra rejoiced that they didn't have to do what their granddads told them to anymore. And you, Kyle, Ryan, imagine just how sweet the revenge was for the La Sombra neonates. That they could finally get to the elders that ruined their human lives and got their revenge. That those
do what you will. It won't
Yeah.
revive your humanity.
Yeah. You wonder why everybody in La Sombra is a backstabbing psychopath, because they have no elders to follow anymore.
Yeah.
You still have La Sombra elders, but not as many as any other clan. And during this time, Zamichi is looking over, and he's saying, don't think I don't see what you're doing, La Sombra. I can do that too, but in a controlled opposition way. You remember during the Zamichi episode that Zamichi just let his clan go to shit because he didn't need his clan anymore? Because Zamichi can go around and possess the bodies of every vampire that shares his blood. And he's already formed a plan where he's chopped off pieces of his body, thrown them out into the woods, created monsters that run around. People eat the monster flesh and then start having Zamichi DNA in their bodies that they pass on to someone else. So he's already won the World of Darkness game. He's just waiting to cash in the win. So he says, I don't need my clan anymore. He possesses the body of Lugoj. You remember the guy that supposedly diabolized Zamichi? This is the story about how he supposedly diabolizes that body. He's possessed, and him and his buddy Velia are going around sharing this new bloodbind. It's called, give me a minute, Vaulderie. Vaulderie, which is the process of pouring everybody's blood into one cup, and then you all take turns drinking it. And you get over an old disease in doing so.
Yeah, good job, dumbass.
You remember that crappy episode of Family Guy where Brian gives Stewie herpes after doing the blood handshake with him?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Imagine how many vampires are going around carrying diseases that they just don't show symptoms of.
Probably a lot.
This-
A lot. There's a ton.
See, Ryan, can your adventure character identify a genital wart?
Probably not.
So everyone's going around doing this Voldery, and it replaces the bloodbind placed on the elders and their children. And now the children are looking at the elders saying, hey, I think I hate you. I think all the other vampires that I shared blood with also hate you. We don't have to do this. I don't have to do what you say. Fuck you, Granddad. I don't gotta do what you tell me to do. And Zimichi's looking over saying, yes, yes. Let's throw diversion off me. Let's have everybody forget what I'm doing. And I can screw over Kapala while I'm at it. All these Zimichi start rebelling against their elders, going around. You remember that the one thing that Zimichi love killing more than other vampires is each other. This is the reason why the Zimichi haven't destroyed the world yet, because they're too busy killing each other.
That and the elder just hasn't gone, fuck it, I'm bored.
Yep. And this takes place in 1459, so this is right along with Gratiano causing shit in Italy. So Lugo's just going around. He's known as Lugo's Bloodbreaker because of this now. He's the perfect scapegoat. And they're all going around causing this massive blood feud in the middle of East Europe. The Shadow Lords are looking over, going, oh shit, oh fuck, what do we do? Because it's causing more grief for the Shadow Lords to have to run for the hills, because the Carpathians have become so dangerous that nobody can live here now. Don't ever go to Romania. Okay, that's just the end of that thought. Don't ever go to Romania, both in and out of the World of Darkness. And 25 years later, so what is this? My 8 brain, I'm too stupid to do math. Let's see, 1459 plus 25. I'm getting an exact year for you. 1484. Lugoj finally finds the fire flower that harnesses Kupala's power, grabs it, and along with that, finds the supposed body of the Zimichi Antediluvian. Really, it's a fake body planted there by Zimichi. He runs over, he drinks his own blood, basically, and supposedly Zimichi dies. He's allegedly dead. And Lugoj looks over and says, I've done it. Me and Gratiano have done it. We freed ourselves. We don't have to do what the Zimichi tells us to do anymore. We can all be monsters. We can all be disgusting. We can all just do whatever the hell we want. Let's go crazy. No rules. And behold, East Europe just collapses. As you've got Zimichi going around, and it doesn't matter what we do. We're just going to go ahead and go and do whatever the fuck we want when we want. And the Brujah are looking at this and saying, you guys killed your Antediluvian. Those guys killed their Antediluvian. Can we do that too? No. No, you can't do that. Because where is Ilias during this time, Kyle?
Ilias, and this is the 1400s?
Yeah, where is the Brujah Antediluvian?
Last I checked, buried in Carthage.
That would be Troil, who supposedly diabolized Brujah.
Oh.
But Ilias, in the Ferris Fowl scenario, is in the future. She time traveled.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
She used celerity so much that it teleported her forward in time.
Yeah, you can't diabolize your Antediluvian because your Antediluvian exists and doesn't exist at the same time. Amazing. So the Brujah are just going around talking out of their asses and saying, hey, that thing they did, the Lasombra did, we can't do that. But we can do what that Zimichi were doing. So they start sharing their blood with each other. They start sharing blood, and all of a sudden you got packs of Brujah going around just causing shit. And the little Sabra and Zimichi look over and say, hey, you see those idiots? Yeah, I see those idiots. Do you want to exploit them? Oh, yeah, we can do that. And behold, the Sabra and Zimichi go over and say, hey, Brujah, we're your friends and all this. We hate our elders too, and your Antediluvian's not around. Ours isn't around. You want to team up? And the Brujah say, oh, we finally got friends? And say, yeah, definitely, we're friends, right? And the three of them are just going around causing shit. Meanwhile, the Church of St. Leopold, you forgot about them, they're still in the story, where it seems like every vampire they're hunting now is a Brujah, Lasombra, or Zimichi that's just running around going wild, starting shit. The Zimichi are able to run off into the Carpathians and hide. The Lasombra can dive into the church and stay hidden. The Brujah just die. They don't have anything to go to because the Brujah don't have anything. Carthage is gone. You didn't build anything else. You just steal from other clans. You have nothing to be proud of, you idiots. And because the Brujah are going around causing this much trouble, Pope Innocent VIII looks over and says, I need to give more money to the Inquisition. You remember how we said we have infinite resources? As it turns out, we have infinite +1 resources now. If the church asks for anything, we'll give it to them. You have the real life Sumus Desiderantes Effectivu, which is a doctrine saying the Inquisition can do whatever they want when it comes to hunting a witch, and now there is nothing holding back the Society of Leopold. The Society of Leopold. You can kill anyone, and it will be justified. Collateral damage is no longer a thing. If you think a vampire is in a city and they've already zombified the entire city, you can burn it. Go ahead. You can just kill anyone you want now. And the Ventru and Tremere and Toreador are looking at this and saying, you idiots, what have you done? We're losing everything because of you. And they're looking around. What's that meme of the stick figures having a civilized conversation, and they look over and there's an entire group of people like shitting in each other's mouths? That's the Bruja during this period. So now we have to form the Camarilla. Hardstadt seemingly appears out of nowhere. You remember he had a Convention of Thorns back in, what was it, 1313? He now has a finalized Camarilla that he will get signed into law, and it will be on 1486 is when he will do it. Hardstadt is supposedly back from the dead. He's definitely not Hardstadt the Younger, masquerading as the sire. Nobody seems to ask, hey, what happened to Hardstadt the Younger? Why isn't he around anymore? Nobody thinks to ask that.
Well, I mean, he does have some fucking unmistakable charisma and manipulation.
Well, to be fair, there was so much chaos going around this time. I think where's Hardstadt the Younger wasn't on the forefront of anyone's mind during this time. That nobody was particularly worried about keeping tabs on each other because you were all running for your lives, about to die to the Inquisition. So he comes out and he says, I am ending this revolt. We're going to have this big convention. We're going to have it in 1486. We're going to finalize it in 1493, where we're going to say the end of the revolt is today. We have signed into law that we're going to have 7 clans. The Bruja elders who are still alive and are fleeing from their kids join the Camarilla without a second thought. They willingly eat crow. They eat their own words. They say, yes, Master Ventru, you were right about everything, Master Ventru. I'm so sorry we ever turned against you. I'm so sorry we ever doubted you, Master Ventru. And the Bruja were so quick to sell their own principles because they were so scared of their kids. And you have the Camarilla today where it's... You remember the clans, right?
Which clan?
The 7 clans of the Camarilla.
Oh. Yeah. The Gangrel, the Bruja, the Malkavians, the Nosferatu, the Ventru, the Toreador, the Tremere, and... Oh, wait,
That's
no,
it.
that's all 7. Yep.
I got you to say that because I was wanting to take another drink. And
I got you, homie.
Yep. They're all signed into power, and they're saying... Well, there's an entire written out list as to what Hardstadt said on page 18 of this book, where it says Convention of Thorns. So there it is. After
Page 18, you said?
Yeah, page 18. After around 200 years of talking, they finally finalized the Camarilla. Where now we have a mafia, we're all going to keep our heads down, we're going to stop fucking around with everybody, we're just going to try to go along with life as peacefully and as quietly as possible so we can survive and not die. We got to do this because we're all going to die if we don't do this. And the Setites were off in Egypt and Africa. They didn't care. The Assamites were in Africa. They didn't care. The Giovanni already had their shit sold out because the Giovanni kept their heads down from the get-go. And the Ravnos and Salubri were the Ravnos and Salubri around this time. And the Cappadocians were dead. And, well, that's seemingly where the story ends, right? I mean, no more Anarchs, right? And the Anarch movement kind of petered out because the Zmici and Lasumber looked over and said, oh, you're forming the Camarilla? Well, guess what? We are going to form the Sabbat, a group made specifically to spite you. We see that you're just stroking the backs of the elders, and you're directly participating and enforcing the jihad. We're going to keep this jihad train going. We still remember that sires suck, and we're going to do everything we can to tear you down and try to prevent Gehenna from happening. The Bruja look over and say, hey, can we be part of it too? And Lasambra and Zmici both look over and say, ew, Who are you? Were we friends with you? No, we weren't. What kind of loser do you think you are, Bruja? Get fucked. We're not teaming up with you. You got nothing going on for you. And they go off to East Europe and just leave the Bruja to die in Europe.
Good job. Just leave them there. They're fine.
Ring it up, La Sombra and Tsumichi Dub. Ring it up. Ring it up. Yeah, didn't we bring this up during the Tsumichi episode that that Sabat could have been 3 clans, but no, it was 2 because the Tsumichi and La Sombra were smart enough to know that the Bruja sucked from the get-go.
I think
Or we're
so.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And the Asamites, meanwhile, are sitting off to the side. Some Asamites are considering joining the Camarilla just because it gives them work and money. But, Islam is beginning to spread, and the Asamites have their own issues because they're trying to keep their clan from collapsing after one prophet went into a cave and saw an angel. And eventually the Camarilla would get what they were asking for with the Asamites. Like half of them, well, not even half of them, like 20% of them end up joining the Camarilla in the end. Because the Banu Hakim grew too numerous and caused the Asamites to collapse, but that's far off down the line. So what happens after 1493? Nothing really. I mean, you have all these Bruja just sitting around, keeping the lights on. Occasionally, some of them will pop up and start rebelling against their sires again, but nothing ever comes of it. And it looks like these guys are going to peter out, and it's just going to be a hill that you guys can die on, while meanwhile the Camarilla and the Sabbat surge in power and become the mainstays of vampire society. Nobody can imagine what vampire society will look like without the Camarilla or the Sabbat. You've both grown so comfortable in these roles. Because, Kyle, is the Camarilla a good thing for a vampire?
For Canaanites and only Canaanites.
Yep. Ryan, is the Sabbat a good thing?
Obviously.
Yes, thank you so much, the Sabbat W. And the Anarchs are just going around dying, and that's all they're doing. What happens in France in 1800?
A bunch of shit.
Well, they revolt because they're sick of not having food.
Yes, as we know, French history, 1789, people are sick to damn death of how much life sucks in France. They're looking over at America and said, hey, 1776 happened. They just overthrew King George's reign over the American colonies, and they became their own country. So what if we did that? And all these Toreador that were French, that were started by French monarchs who were disguised as human but were really vampires, were embraced and thrown off into the wolves and killed by human hunters and the Bonards, because remember the Bonards were active participants in the French Revolution. And the Bruja looked over and said, hey, you know our pain. They go over to these Toreador and say, do you want to get revenge on the sire that just threw you to the wolves and wants you to die for him? Yeah, we're pretty sick of this guy. We want him to die. Here, let's team up. We're going to take France back from the Camarilla together, and we will form our own faction, just the two of us. So these young Bruja and young Toreador team up, and what is that off in the distance? Because as these two start fighting, Mr. Magpie begins to intensify in the background as, well, as we know in 1800, one Napoleon Bonaparte takes the lead, because after the French monarchy is overthrown, Napoleon comes in, starts forming a new and improved French empire, and all of a sudden, he goes in and he's taking over city after city after city, growing in power with these brand new Bruja and Toreador that are surging, going around, taking names, going in, killing elders of the Camarilla, dethroning the Camarilla in French cities. They're gone in Paris, they're gone in Toulouse, they have nowhere to go. And they bring in La Sombra, who are pissed off at how shit the Sabbat is, and all three of them team up, and the Camarilla will go around, and warning sirens are on full blast. Oh shit, oh fuck, who are these people? And we're about to lose everything all over again. We fought so hard for 300 years to preserve our way of life, and these idiots are about to cause us to lose everything all over again. The more things change, the more things stay the same. And
yeah.
And what they call this, they call it the Anarch Free State, and they form it in France. And it will be a place where vampires can do whatever they want, whenever they want. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. We're our own people, and we're going to do what we choose to do. We say no more kings, no gods, no government, just us is what we'll be. So basically, Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged before that came out.
No gods, no kings, only man.
After all, it's a vampire not entitled to the V today on his brow. And they're looking around, and well, Napoleon Bonaparte will of course die, and then the Anarch Free State dies with them ultimately, because it seems like, look at the dates of this, it seems like the Anarch Free State was almost directly tied to Napoleon Bonaparte's rise to power. And then when he dies, the French monarchy is reinstated, the Anarch Free State fizzles out as well. Well, it was beautiful while it lasted, right? We got to ladder ourselves for a few dozen years, and that's it.
That was
And
nice
of
all
course,
lasted.
and now, of course, all these new Bruja and Toreador and the Sombra are all killed by the Camarilla, the Sabbat, or the Bonars, or the Ratkin. You remember the Ratkin, right? The Ratkin were all over France. They're still in France. How many rats does Paris, France have?
A lot. I know that much.
See, I'm typing in Paris, France rat population as I speak. And 6 million rats in Paris, by the way.
That's a
which
lot.
is more than twice the number of people living in France.
Damn, really? The sun never sets on the rat empire.
The Rat Empire. The Ratkin will rise and they will rule the world. And yeah, this is where the story kind of ends in Europe. You occasionally get groups that call themselves Anarchs that rise up and try taking the world again, but it doesn't last. It doesn't last for any significant length of time. What's going on in America? You remember how they had a revolution, and the vampires that called themselves Anarchs that lived in America were just burned members of the Camarilla and Sabbat that were on the run. That's what they were. And our story moves all the way over to Los Angeles, where the Camarilla goes into the territory of Los Angeles. It was a city that was a measly 10,000 people, and it became one of the biggest cities in the world. And they appoint one Don Sebastian as their prince. And Don Sebastian sucks. He's a terrible prince. He's got terrible policies. He doesn't know what he's doing. He just services himself and only himself. And it pisses off everybody. And one Bruja by the name of Jeremy McNeil looks at Don Sebastian and decides that he is really fucking sick of this guy. And he looks around at all these other Bruja around and says, hey, do you think the Anarch Free State could work here? I don't know, man. Maybe. Well, anything is better than living under Don Sebastian. I am sick to damn death of this guy. Let's kill him. So, December 21st, 1944, the Second Anarch Revolt begins. And it's called this because of just how much of a disaster this turns into. Don Sebastian's rancho is invaded, he is staked, and he is burnt to death within his own home, and all of his land is burnt down with him. Jeremy McNeil declares himself a new Baron of Los Angeles, and he spreads to San Diego, where they take that city in the night. They go to San Francisco, and initially the invasion is resisted by that prince, Vannevar Thomas, but Jeremy McNeil goes around, invades San Jose, and then using the reinforcements that he gets from San Jose, goes back to San Francisco, takes it over. He goes down to San Diego. I think I might have already said that. Sacramento, and eventually all of California collapses, and the Camarilla lose everything in that state. And they start going up to Oregon and Seattle too. And the Ventrue, who were making good money off the Oregon Trail and all the gold and the farming that was in that state, and they look and they say, "Oh, what happened to our quarterly earnings? The Anarch movement, that's a thing again? Bullshit it is." And they send their best men to go and try to sweep it up, but nope, too late. The Anarchs are too numerous in California. And while they're trying to sweep this under the rug the best they can, in 1965, the Sabbat, seeing what a shit show this all is, dive into California, and because the Camarilla are too busy fighting the Anarchs, the Sabbat establish a presence in California during this time. And while they're all fighting, in 1992, the Kuei Jin heard all this commotion from all the way in China, and they sail over the Pacific Ocean and land in California. And because there's this free fall going on, the Kuei Jin establish themselves in California and take over a piece of Los Angeles during this time. And the Camarilla look at this and they're looking at the Anarchs and saying, "You stupid sons of bitches! You ruined everything!" And meanwhile, the Anarchs are just going, you're bad, anarchy good, Prince bad, rulership bad, it's just, and that's it. You can't reason with the Anarchs, dude. You're showing them the Sabbat and the Kuei Jin that want a genocide of all of them. And can the Anarchs clean up their own shit? No. You can't repel any of these guys. You've had this free state supposedly since 1944, and you can't defend it? Seriously? Seriously?
That's what I was saying. It's like, sometimes the revolution collapses in on itself. Sometimes you win the lottery. Sometimes somebody steals your car. And other times it gets a million times worse.
And now nobody is making money in California anymore as a vampire. Nobody, because that whole state has been at war for 80 years by this point. Great.
To be fair, in our campaign, nobody's making money in California anymore.
Nope. Nobody's making any sort of money. Do you see what? Just a shit hole.
It's desolate now.
Yeah, we did kind of fuck it up. Well, then again, that was mostly DJ Flash's fault, but
Yeah, if you look at our thumbnail for our video, we have two of our OCs. We have Ragnar Ling, who was Sean's character in our Las Vegas game, the guy in the yellow motorcycle helmet, who very quickly became one of our favorite characters that we've played in this group.
That's my play there.
And then right next to him is DJ Flash, the guy who was everything I hate about the Anarchs summarized in a single character. A guy who masqueraded as a rock star, but talking about how good it is to rebel and just be a rebel for the sake of rebellion, where really he's just serving himself and leads to this massive riot in California that leaves 3 million people dead.
It was a mass demontation, a blood sacrifice.
Through mass demontation that he does on a radio broadcast. And that's ultimately what it is. Because if the Anarchs have their way, you would have stuff like that happening every day. The Gehenna would have happened by this point. And you want to know who's in the Camarilla, by the way? Sorry, who's in the Anarchs, by the way? Smiling Jack, dude. Who V20 seems to has forgotten that this guy's a villain. Smiling Jack is going out intentionally mass-embracing Bruja to create Canites, to create Thin Bloods, because he wants to accelerate the rate of Gehenna. He wants the world to end because he thinks it's funny. That's his character.
That guy sounds... He's a villain?
Yes.
I guess I could see why he's a villain, but that sounds amazing.
And Kyle, that's the guy that we talked to at the start of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, voiced by Jake the Dog.
Oh, honestly, that's funny.
Yeah, one of the most evil characters in all of Vampire gives you your tutorial.
That's funny as shit.
So you see why these guys suck, right? You see why the Anarchs suck.
I like the fact that he's Bender. It makes it funny.
And yeah, the Anarchs are just a joke faction by this point. But this is what I mean by they're vampires to vampires. You go out and you just exist to spite the Camarilla. That's all you do. You want to talk about the roles too? Well, the roles they have where they're definitely not stolen from the Camarilla. We've got jobs like the Baron, which is just a prince by another name. You have a sweeper, which is a scourge by another name. You have the chameleon, which is a spy by another name. You have the emissary, where you just go around and you try to convince Camarilla and Sabbat to betray their elders, diabolize their elders, stake their elders, and stab them in the back so the Anarchs can come in and take over territory. That's what they do. So, you can talk about how much you hate the Camarilla all you want. you stole a lot of stuff from the Camarilla, didn't you?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But then
There it
again,
is.
that does contradict why they're doing it in the first place.
It's this whole thing where they say, not in my backyard. We can have all these rules, but you can't enforce them on me. We can have our government, but you can't expect me to follow these rules. We can have all this stuff, but don't expect me to go along with it. Where Sean, we talk about politics amongst each other as friends. Sean is a guy that is a deep libertarian, but I don't think he wants the government to be completely destroyed. I think he just wants them to leave him the hell alone, is ultimately what he wants. But no, the Anarchs unironically believe that power will be better in their hands, and they don't want to enforce the power. So what you got from that point? Kyle, you know how stupid the commune is? Where you got nothing defending yourself, nothing preventing somebody from going in, gunning you down while you eat your kimchi taco in the middle of the street. Because you have nobody that you're paying to defend you from these invaders. And the people that want to talk about anarchy, go over here and watch Hassan Piker grift you for money and take your money while telling you how good it is to have no government, to have this left-leaning society where you're stuck on government dependence for your entire life and you have nothing to your name. That you want to talk about how you want to live in a world where you have no government. You're a generation that's cooked. You put people like Hassan and Andrew Tate in power. You gave them platforms. You know what the fuck you want. You can't take care of yourself. You need to turn to somebody. You genuinely think you can stick it out on your own. You think you're like these Quebec secessionists that think you can live without this government and you can be a landlocked country existing in your own bubble. You think you can do what Chop did and occupy Portland and you exist for what, not even a full 2 weeks before you collapse? You think this shit's real? You can't stick it out on your own.
But it could.
Anyone who says they want to abolish the government and just live on their own rules, you are so fucking stupid, man.
Mom, pick me up. Johnny's ranting about the weak men making hard times.
Oh, sounded like my mother for a second. Damn.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
There it is. You got my Irish up for this episode.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, because I'm talking about. I think these guys piss me off more than Pentex does. Where
I don't know, Pentex are just evil. Like, these guys are dumb, but, you know.
Yeah, I think, like, stupid evil pisses me off more than malicious evil. Like, I can at least, I can at least give dubs and props to the Defandi over the Anarchs.
I mean, well.
And the Defandi are literal Satanists. And they got a better operation going than the Anarchs do.
Well, they operate better. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily on the moral high ground. Just because you have a form of, organization doesn't make you any better. Like, yeah, the Anarch shit the bed in both France and in California. And now the Kuei-jin are invading the West Coast. Yeah, they shit the bed with that. Nobody's denying them of that. They have no idea how to set up a formal sort of government without ripping off the Camarilla. But at least they're not actively trying to make the world suck more.
In fact, they're not trying to make this world suck more, but by undermining both the Camarilla and Sabat, they're making the world a worse place. But they refuse to acknowledge the damage they're doing.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why you should play the faction, is so you get to see that in real time.
Yeah, where I feel like the whole point of playing an Anarch campaign is that you're in the Anarchs, and then you realize what a stupid, horrible idea the Anarchs are. And just how this whole faction, everything behind it is a terrible idea. Where we've been talking about Miami by Night, which is a future live play we're going to do after, say, Rage Coast Appalachia ends. And the whole irony we're going to have with Nozomi Nishiyama, where he betrays the Setites and leaves the Setites to join the Anarchs, only to see what a short-sighted, stupid decision that is.
I mean, he gets everything he wants anyhow, so it doesn't really matter now, does it?
He's going to get it, and it's going to last for 2 years before he's finally staked and killed.
Yeah, before he gunned down in the street like a dog with 50 pounds of cocaine up his ass.
And, oh my god. You see why I use these guys as villains and only villains, because of just how much damage these guys cause.
Yeah, that's part of the fun, isn't it?
Yeah. It is, where there are no heroes in World of Darkness. Don't pretend that you're a hero in this game. You're not. You're not. No, there are no good people.
I mean,
unless you're playing.
I try at the very least, don't I?
Unless you're playing Mummy the Resurrection, then you're a good person.
Well, the mummies know that it's on, and they're trying to warn everybody.
Yeah, like even the Kuei Jin aren't necessarily like good people. They're more focused on paths of enlightenment. Werewolves are trying to save the world at any human cost. And mages are so far up their own asses, they refuse to admit that what they're doing is wrong. There are no heroes in the world of darkness. So the Anarchs are going around telling you that they're heroes. They're not. You know what this book didn't mention? Russia. You know what? It neglected to mention Russia.
Oh, gee, I
Because
wonder why.
because an Anarch revolt happened in Russia. You want to know who puppeteered it? The Shadow Lords.
Yeah, and they
That's the whole
created a communist dystopia that killed millions of people over its life.
You look at the Anarchs and everything they've done, they've just been puppeteered by someone else. That's ultimately what's going on. You can say that Jeremy McNeil was controlled by the Worm and Pentex the entire time. You can make an argument for that.
Honestly, wouldn't surprise me.
Yep. I love how stupid these guys are.
Explain
Let's talk about
the Setite partnership.
the Setite partnership, or I don't know, let's just go ahead and bring in the pedophiles and drug dealers and rapists. Let's just go ahead and do that to boost our faction in V5.
Yeah, basically.
Sounds like a great idea. I know you're on the same side that's trying to like gaslight me and tell me that's a morally acceptable thing to do, or that's mental illness. So I guess it tracks to the Anarchs, given that they're left wingers now.
Left wingers now, but then you get a principled Anarch like Ragnar, who actually believed that he could try and make a difference.
Yeah, well, you have members of the Anarchs that believe in this movement as like what they're lied to believe. Where you thought you were helping humanity, you thought you were fighting an oppressive system, when really you're just another maggot in the pile, and you do the right thing that Ragnar did at the end of our game, where you say, fuck any faction, I'm just going to go out and I'm going to stick it on my own.
And you know what? He did good.
He did okay for himself.
And then Malcolm was like, hey, kid, I remember you were there. You want some of my Vitae? And he was like, well, I guess. And then he realized that, oh, wait, I've just betrayed my best friend's son.
Yeah, you had Ragnar, who was able to intimidate 5 werewolves out of fighting him.
Well, we knew Ragnar was going to be scary in that game, and he is scary in that game. He's
moving so quickly he can occupy multiple spaces at the same time.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. And I love that too. We didn't get too far into Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, but Kyle, have you met Nines Rodriguez yet?
I don't believe I have. I have not gotten to play it because it doesn't run on Linux.
So, when you meet this guy, pay very close attention to his dialogue, because he does as much as he can to try to smear the Camarilla while never really building up what the Anarchs are supposed to be. And same goes for every other Anarch that you talk to in this game, where they only ever want to tell you how evil the other factions are, but don't do anything to put themselves up.
Well, they think that their evil is necessary, and everybody in this world does.
That they want to say, oh, we're the good guys. We're not going to tell you what we stand for, but we're going to try to prop you up. And then you begin to realize that they're sending you on the same sort of suicide missions that LaCroix was sending you on, and how Nines Rodriguez keeps trying to portray himself as a good person, as a charismatic leader that supposedly cares about his own kind. He doesn't. He only cares about himself. And what I'm going to say is the independent ending to Bloodlines. You tell this man to go fuck himself to his face, and you just walk away from him.
Yep,
that's the best. Fun. That's the best thing you could do. Where, the only reason why your character doesn't kill him is because he was with his posse. That was it. That's the only reason why you don't shoot him in the head. Dead ass, the Sabat modded ending is my favorite ending in that game.
Well, I mean, I haven't met them yet, so.
You also know that I just love the Sabat.
Well, yeah, we've been over this. The Sabat are actually correct, despite their terrible practices.
You're right in the wrongest way.
Yeah. Well, yes, but actually no.
Yeah, it's a good guess, but you know. All right, let's talk about the individual idiots that make up this. Let's talk about how the clans function or don't function in the Anarchs. Let's do it.
Yes.
Starting with the Assamites, putting the ass in Assamite.
Yes. Let me get back down there wherever I put it, because I did.
You started in page 28.
Yep.
Or 29 in the PDF.
I scrolled past it, so let me just do the thing real quick.
There it is.
Okay. There it is. So with the Assamites, so the Assamites are an interesting case when it comes to the Anarchs. Very few of them have actually joined. The majority of the ones that have are going to be some of the newer ones that feel as if that the very strict principles of Islam don't really conform to their ideas of Canaanite society. Usually when an Assamite does join the Anarchs, they usually help the ancient tribes strike down the Camarilla elders, just like we said they did in Italy back in the 1400s. The assassins' reasons for supporting the sect are usually born for their lust for revenge from the Tremere curse. And, basically this is a good way to get back at them. The Assamites are often associated with nomad anarchists. They're mostly Muslim, even though they aren't, as strict of Muslims as some of the elders of the Assamites. And some of them are using the Anarchs' ideas of revolution to propose perhaps a Muslim kindred society, perhaps using a sort of moral grounding in order to solidify their position within Canaanite society. Although usually the reasons for them joining the Anarchs are often the result of the clan's archaic principles failing to function in the final nights. But make no mistake, the Assamites are still Assamites, and they are incredibly fierce. And perhaps maybe this could be what the Anarchs need to make a solid push, not just towards, being a viable function, but perhaps actually finding out why the Sabbat were right the whole time, as it's the Assamites that would push the Anarchs into the jihad.
The jihad is a good thing at the end of the day.
Yes, it is, and leave it to the most based faction in the game to do that.
There is a way for vampires and humans to exist at the same spot. It's called Thin Bloods.
Yes, there are, but that's part of the whole, end nights. I really want to play as Ramirez again. I think that'd be so much fun.
And if you could bring him back as an NPC in Miami by Night, I'll be very happy.
This would be before his. Well, actually, he would be.
Well, we're going down a different timeline anyway. Yeah.
He would be a ghoul at that time because he doesn't become like a full shovelhead until years after.
Yeah, he's going through his 7 years of Assamite training.
Basically, yes.
Yeah. But can you pull up that ghoul picture of the Assamites again?
Do I have it?
I'll pull it up.
Please.
Because you notice that every picture involving Assamites goes so hard. Where, once again, the de facto coolest group of vampires is the Assamites. Yeah, pull up that picture again.
Oh yeah, dude, this is fucking tight. This looks like a scene from Wizards.
Yeah, it's so cool. We love the Assamites. Ryan, don't we love the Assamites?
Yeah.
What? What?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Sil. You have an Assamite as your shovelhead. His name is Luis Ramirez.
There's one of my favorite one is something that we're going to be going over.
Oh, is it?
It's 2 down.
Yes. Okay. Well, we'll get there. Well, understandably so. So moving on from them, we have our boy Ragnar the Bruja. Not in this picture. It's a different picture.
Do you notice how nasty this woman looks in this picture too?
Yeah, it's not great.
Like the fucking happy trail going up the stomach.
Yeah, it's a little rough. Not gonna lie.
It's like she doesn't shave her pits. She doesn't shave her face or her neck.
I do know a chick that doesn't shave her pits. She's cool though. She's in a feminist punk band called Scum.
It's like pictures you can smell.
She probably doesn't smell all that good. Not gonna lie. But anyway. So most people think that Bruja and Anarchs go hand in hand, but Bruja joining the Anarchs is actually rarer than most people think. The majority of Bruja, while they aren't exactly happy with the, rather stagnant and usually morally corrupt leadership of the Camarilla, understand why it exists and, benefit from the structure that it grants. Most Bruja in this point in the Camarilla would consider the Anarch faction completely redundant. If, as the book quotes, and this is a very good quote from the book, if rebellion becomes an institution, what point does that rebellion serve? The Bruja see themselves in the Camarilla as the change of the Camarilla itself, so they don't really believe in the full cause of the Anarchs. Some Bruja find the Anarchs, however, an extension of their revolutionary responsibility, and oddly enough, become the conformists of the Anarchs, the ones that try to keep cemented the ideas of liberty within Canaanite society. Usually they'll follow strong, rebellious leaders in Anarch gangs, and a lot of other Bruja. For example, Ragnar actually would fall under this category, are at the forefront of change as idealists, the sort of
Yes.
loyal opposition to the Camarilla. They are the greatest contributors to the Anarch cause because of their idealism and their willingness to fight things that they find unjust. These Bruja will either be very old, like Ragnar was when he joined the French Revolution and got embraced, or very young. Most Ensley, who were once a part of the Anarchs, eventually grew frustrated with being the underdogs and then eventually just settled to Camarilla or died fighting. So it's a very thin line between just the Bruja, who just is stuck on the bottom of the food chain as a bag boy, in the Camarilla, but are kind of like, okay, I've got a place to crash during the daytime, and I can bitch and moan all I want so long as the fucking so long as the Toreador doesn't whine to the Venture Prince that I was talking some mad shit, then I'll be fine. Meanwhile, you would have other Bruja like, fuck this, I'm out of here, you know? And that's the Bruja in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm. You also notice their little nickname amongst the Anarchs, right? The Rabble.
Yes.
The Rabble. And how they're described in character creation is that you're nothing more than a snarling political NPC that's just going to die for character creation.
Well, yeah, they're, as it says, the more productive side than the Camarilla Bruja. The criminals, thugs, least common denominator conformists still populate the ranks here. Natures and demeanors are often aggressive, usually going to prioritize physical attributes, and sometimes favoring social attributes as well. Backgrounds.
You see the stereotypes, and like you got Anarchs, and like just you can just smell the cope in that sentence.
Yep. a little bit of cope. Not gonna lie.
Like,
okay.
There it is. You're fucking felted, man.
And here's our boy Syl. Had he chosen a different path, or had the Sabbat
that almost
treated
looks
him
like
right.
him.
It does actually. This is him if like the Sabbat just threw him out for being a caitiff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go.
Caitiff often find company in the Anarchs when they've had enough of being threatened or killed or stepped on or spat on or ostracized or anything else that the Camarilla or Sabbat might do to them. And because of this, they become the most numerous and fervent supporters of the Anarchs just because of their low stature in Cainite society. Most of the troubles within the Anarchs could be blamed on the Caitiff because of their pariah status. And most Caitiff understand that that's just how it is at this point. But because of this, they also make a point to prove themselves in the struggle against the Elders. And, as we all know, the Caitiff are sort of a catch-all hodgepodge of indeterminate lineages, but because of this, provide Anarchs with some of their most brilliant tacticians, their most vicious soldiers, some eloquent diplomats, and very clever scouts. And the lack of characteristics granted by this lack of determinate lineage actually makes them very, very difficult to track when they do strike a Camarilla Elysium or Chantry.
Yes.
The major drawback to them is because they are clanless or orphans, as the less derisive term of the Anarchs would call them. They don't really have a full understanding of kindred society, but that isn't a huge burden because all they really have to do is learn. You hang around and you survive a long time, well, they just might be able to make a difference. It's a future direction of, they believe themselves, or at least they're propagandized to say the future direction of the Anarch revolt. Whether or not that is true remains to be seen.
You look over at their stereotypes too, and once again, the cope and the Anarchs.
Yep. I mean,
it's good to have hope, but
I can't blame them for that, though, because, like, both factions, unless you're really something fucking special, are just gonna browbeat you and demean you and treat you like shit the whole time. Sylvester's an exception to the rule only because he's incredibly talented. He was an incredibly talented shovelhead, and even more so as a Templar.
Where Joseph Panders came in the 50s and gave you a place in the Sabbat.
And he would absolutely take it.
So you look over at the
in fine style.
Look over at the Anarchs, and like even the Caitiff who have nowhere else to go, look at the Anarchs and say, "This is bullshit.
Yep.
There's
But
no
I mean,
future
like,
here."
what else do they got? Let's be real.
The Sabat's what you got. Go ahead and kiss the ring. Go ahead.
I mean,
So,
Sylvester did well for himself. He still
Yeah,
needs to
love it.
come up and go out hunting with me. I'm sure to enjoy himself.
see,
Yeah, he found his way to the Sabat.
Yep.
Kyle, who put that gangrel in a suit?
Somebody that doesn't know much about Gangrel, evidently.
Who? Well, take that man's clothes off immediately. Strip him naked.
He's looking like a Ventru over here.
It kind of is.
You took him to the men's warehouse and you put him in a suit. Get this man naked, send him off into the woods.
Or just like deck him out in like hand-me-down fatigues with like a hunting rifle over his shoulder or something like
Get him
that.
like Tarzan, just put him in a loincloth.
Look, I might not. Look, I'm more civilized than your average gangrel, but I'm not gonna fucking do that. Right? I still actually like having a roof over my head. I still like whiskey, and if I do right, then I might actually get a hot tub. That would actually.
You LARP as animals. That's what you do.
What?
You pretend you're animal people. That's what you do.
I do not actually. I hunt.
You got
animals.
dog ears. You got dog eyes. You got feathers going down your back. You got a rat tail.
That's because I picked up once. So don't worry about that. So it's honestly surprising how many gangrel have joined the Anarchs, given that they usually just want to be left the hell alone. But gangrel are mostly there out of frustration from the Camarilla. They believe that with the Anarchs, they could just kind of take what they want with no worries or repercussions. And the Anarchs, for that reason, are happy to welcome them. Because of their one-track mind, their animalistic nature, rarely are the thinkers and the planners. And they're willing to throw in for the time being, so long as they can, get what they want. But more so, there's a more primal reason for the gangrel, and quite simply put, that's safety in numbers. All in all, there's not a whole lot to the gangrel joining the Anarchs. They just want a place to stay in a coterie where they can have somebody watching their back, take what's theirs, and then fuck off when things go south. Honestly, decent survival tactic for short-term gains.
Because I am thinking too, like with Miami by Night, I do have another gangrel character off to the side, but I think my heart's more set on Nozomi than anything else.
I mean, I would like to see the fat fuck come back as much as I hate his guts, but
Yeah. Or he trades out his hoodie for a suit and tie.
I thought he always had a suit and tie. What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, but we eventually made him like a 20-year-old college bum.
Yeah, we did
first.
make him like a Travis Touchdown type character with even less redeeming qualities.
Yeah. And you look at
He's a sip.
But you look at the gangrel, and the gangrel are always going to be the tribe first. The tribe, the gangrel as a clan will always come first. Same with the Nosferatu, where at any time the gangrel can just pull out. How many times have they left the Camarilla and then joined the Camarilla again and then left again and joined again?
That's the thing. It's all about survival instinct. When it's convenient to rejoin, when you need a haven to stay at and vitae to replenish, then yeah, we'll join, quote-unquote, the Camarilla. And then when we get sick of their bullshit and realize how pedantic and fucking uptight they are, we fuck off again because they don't seem to need us all that much.
It's the only time you get a loyal gangrel is in the Sabat. Anywhere else, they're just your fair weather friend.
Well, that's because, at least the Sabat can tell them, it's like, hey, we'll give you all the things you need to survive as long as you help us track down the antediluvians and kill them. And they'll go, well, fuck, that's a good deal. Sure, where do I sign up?
Yeah.
So what are these antediluvians? Oh, they're, just the progenitors of all of our bloodlines. That sounds dangerous. I don't think I want to be here anymore. But, hold on, wait. We'll give you that haven over there. It's out in the woods where you can chill out, eat animals, and howl at the moon and piss on trees. All we have to do... What's up?
We can get you to become a symbiotic entity with your beast inside of you. You don't have to worry about becoming the beast anymore. We can get you to fuse with him with the paths. We can make you transhuman. That's all we can do. The Sabat, man. I'm gonna gush over the Sabat the entire time we do the episode on them.
You really are. You need that to counterbalance how much you hate the shit out of the Anarchs.
It's
Yeah.
okay. I'll be right there with you.
Speaking
our
of,
vampire game. Our vampire game on Friday is nothing but Sabat. By the way, you notice that Giovanni are missing
yeah, they are.
because they're not stupid enough to join this movement.
Well, no, they got the family, so they're fine.
And the family's doing pretty well for each other.
Beppity boopity boppity boppity, whatever. Speaking of Sabat, La Sombra. They're exactly like their elders. They're abusive, manipulative, conniving bastards. They purportedly slew their progenitor and remained autonomous in the wake of Graciano's descent into Sabat. The Sabat La Sombra will treat the Sabat anti-tribute with far less civility with anything else, and they see any anti-tribute as an insult to the Black Legacy. Both sects are ordered by debased, privileged cowards, and they order their children to be devoured by each other's war machines. The La Sombra in the Anarchs themselves are anomalies in the subject, largely mistrusted but valuable to the Anarchs because of their obteneration. They display the typical Sabat cunning for the Anarchs, and they claim to want the same equilibration of opportunity for the Anarchs, but because of their nature, no one really knows for sure. Those that do actually believe in it tend to be more on the idealistic sort of things. But again, it's hard to trust the La Sombra.
After all, the Sombra are known for being dishonest. They stab each other in the back all the time.
So you mean to tell me Heronia Baseggio was blowing smoke at my ass?
I love that picture, by the way, too.
It is
This-
very
this
nice, like the woman reaching up to grab her or the shadow grabbing the woman.
That's your only friend as the La Sombra.
You know, maybe if you didn't betray everybody all the time, you'd have more friends. But who am I to know? I've just got, a loving wife and a son.
Of course, too, the Sombra are the most transient of all the clans because they'll only ever go to you if it benefits them. If once the circuses and bread stops, then they'll stab you in the back and go to someone else.
Right.
You can't trust the Sombra, dude. You just can't.
No kidding.
But you only ever work with them because of just how raw their power is. Dominate, obteneration, and potence. Ooh, wee mama. Those are some good disciplines.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And
what's up?
yeah. Well, I had an idea, now it's gone. Let's talk about the Malkavian, where you have your average leftist as the picture for the Malkavians.
Yes, that is, yeah.
It's like you went so hard with the Sombra picture, and then you've got this for the Malkavian.
I mean, that makes sense for a Malkavian. Look at her.
Well, we know that people on the street that look like this are just as diseased as a Malkavian.
Basically. So, Anarch Malkavians are usually resentful, bitter, angry, or cynical, although most are lucid enough to rationally join the Anarchs. There's little room for cleanup around them, however, which makes them an incredible risk to the masquerade. They're more cerebral than they are neurotic compared to the ones in the Camarilla. Though
Bullshit.
Yeah, at least the book says so.
Yes.
Madness and zeal are not mutually exclusive, however, and their unconventional wisdom has greatly helped the Anarchs. It lets them outguess or outright confuse their enemies, though, as we said, Malkavians have their liabilities. Their derangements make them very unreliable allies, and sometimes their madness will prevent them to muster the will to fight or plan. They're a mixed blessing to the Anarchs. They usually attach themselves to nomads, and usually try to let the change of scenery keep them focused on the task at hand. But, it's better to have them and not need them.
Better to have them and not need them. But the Malkavian?
Well, yes, because, fuck it. Who knows when you're going to have, hey, did you know that a 50 caliber round can separate a man's chest cavity from his back when fired at this angle? So we should all be not by this window right now. Yes.
There's one faction where Malkavians belong. That's the Camarilla. The Camarilla.
What about the ones that are here?
Let's see. The ones that are here, the more deranged than the Camarilla are Sabat ones.
Well, I mean, if they work, they work.
you're over here thinking that anarchy is a good idea. At least Malkavians and Camarilla and Sabat are working towards something. Malkavian Anarchs, you got nothing you're working towards. You just exist for spite. That's it. You don't want a spiteful guy that's that crazy out there, because I don't know. Look at every sort of like crazed gunman or mass stabber, and you look at the symptoms going on with them. Well, they tend to be fucking crazy and they have nothing to live for.
Yeah, basically.
So, yeah, you with the Malkavian Anarch, you just got like a mass killer in the making with the Anarchs. I mean, after all, that was what we made DJ Flash in our Las Vegas game.
Seemed to work out great for him.
Yeah, he got what he wanted. A bunch of people died, and he got to laugh at it.
Well, yeah, and then he got to summon Malkev.
Yeah, and then he died a brutal death as he deserved.
Who was it among us that killed him? I think it was Ragnar.
That was Ragnar that killed him.
Yep.
Yeah, he got Fabrice and he got Flash.
Oh yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
Wait, Fabrice, aka BizKid, right?
Yes.
Well, I mean, he had a personal beef with BizKid after that, so.
Yeah. Ragnar, of course, had our highest body count.
Yep. I was actually really tempted to Diablo-rise Fabrice, just so, like, just as vengeance for locking him up in a basement for 4 years.
Yeah, to prove a point.
Yeah, I wanted to, like, sink my fangs in him, have Colt just, like, whisper to him right as he drained the last drop of Vitae. You're mine, bitch.
But no, Ragnar shot him in the face first.
Yep. I was a little bit sad. I think I sent you a DM in the middle of that session, like, what do I need to do to Diablo-rise?
Yes.
I was ready, man. I will take the Trail of Black if I get my.
You're willing to take the short-term benefits for the Hunger of the Ancients.
Well, no, I just wanted revenge.
Well, it's fitting that I saw the Sonic 3 movie beforehand. This is that we should have had, I don't know, Tails and Knuckles talking you out of taking the Master Emerald during that part.
I mean, yeah, but then again, he wouldn't have given up the fight anyhow. So
you will only be able to eat off of other vampires in 1,000 years. Don't Diablo-rise them.
Oh wait, but fucking Vigo. Oh wait, no, Vigo Diablo-rises
yeah. Vigo and Sylvester are going to have to deal with that in the future.
Yes,
but
it's fine.
Anyway,
in the very distant future.
So,
there's Nosferatu. He looks like he just got punched in the face. Is what he's got.
Yeah, he don't look pretty, but then again, when do they ever?
Yeah, how many Nosferatu are out there that have kept their hair like this?
Not very much. I imagine it's a wig.
Yeah, it's a wig that I got from Party City.
Yeah, doesn't look very good. Okay. So, there's another great quote from this book. Assuming that the movement is successful, the Nosferatu have the most to gain from associating with the Anarchs. As we know, they're reviled by pretty much everybody just because they're disgusting to look at. You know, the Nosferatu's social difficulties will matter far less than they do tonight if the kindred social order is to be replaced by a quasi-government. So most Nosferatu join the Anarchs hoping with guarded optimism that they'll be able to make a change that betters their clan specifically. They're fervent and heady with idealism, and because of this, they'll make excellent soldiers, very talented logisticians, and unparalleled spies as Nosferatu go. They stay with the Anarchs because they're honestly just really good at being Anarchs. And because of this position, because of their extensive knowledge and their extensive intelligence network and library, they sort of become the de facto lore masters, historians, and even sages of the Anarchs. But because Nosferatu information can be bought and sold by the drop of a hat, it's still hard for the rest of the Anarchs to fully trust them.
Where, the Nosferatu have only ever been about the clan and only the clan. If it doesn't benefit the Nosferatu as a family, they don't care. They have no real loyalty to the Camarilla or the Sabat or the Anarchs. Black Lodge Games, I watched his video on the Anarchs before we made this. I think it was nothing but a pack of lies built off of his own projections. But he was right about his point when it comes to the Gangrel and the Nosferatu. Because the Nosferatu have never really honored the Camarilla. They've only ever gone about things the old way of the clan and only the clan. And the Nosferatu still do that and have managed to sustain themselves off of that in the era of the Camarilla. So he was right with 2 out of 13 clans, and that was it. But
Hey,
there it is.
quite
Well,
literally twice a day.
yeah, that's still an F.
Yep.
Also notice, you also notice in this picture, like, the guy's feet.
Yeah, they're pretty gnarled up. It looks like he had bound feet.
Yeah, there it is. The Chinese foot binding.
Yes, the
You also
most
notice
sane of practices.
You also notice that they don't really have any loyalty towards anyone in their stereotypes.
No, there really isn't.
But even in character concept and background, you're super secluded. You don't really talk to anyone in the Anarchs. You're only ever caring about the family, which is the same sort of mentality that the Giovanni have.
Seems to work for them.
Yeah, so imagine a timeline where the Nosferatu backstab all the factions just go off by themselves and manage to stake it on their own just fine.
I think they'll be fine. Yeah, they'll just hang around.
That's possible. They're doing better than the Ravnos.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of the Ravnos.
Look at how many layers of clothing this guy's wearing.
Well, yeah, he stole it all. He doesn't, look at all these bags that he's got.
I stole it, I wear it.
Basically, yeah. He's got a short jacket, a long sleeve shirt, some rubber gloves on.
He's got Taichi's goggles from Digimon and the backwards English cap.
He also looks like he's sporting a vest.
This man got dressed in the dark.
Yes, actually, he did. Okay. The Ravnos try not to involve themselves with the Anarchs too much, but some have found some purpose there. They're looking to take what they can before Gehenna takes them. They understand that it's a foregone conclusion that the world's going to end very, very soon. So they figured...
Because of you!
Yeah.
Because of you! Because of the wicked nightmares caused by Ravnos!
Well, it's not by them. It's just by Ravnos himself. See, if Ravnos would have kept asleep, we would have been fine.
If Ravnos just let his kids die like a good father would have, everything would have been fine.
Basically, yes. So, like Ravnos go, of course, they're going to prefer nomadicism. They leave without consequence, and their nomadic nature makes them good scouts, spies, and oddly enough, evangelists as well, espousing the Anarch Manifesto. Though very few of them care about the deep political ties that it might suggest, they overcome their apathy for the politics with very stirring speeches that, pull people towards the more liberal side of the Anarch ideology. Many kindred, sort of like the Gangrel, will look at the Anarchs as a way to find safety in numbers, and after the Week of Nightmares must adapt to these dangerous times. It's a good way to stay hidden and stay on the move, is when you're stuck in a coterie.
Mm-hmm. You also notice how they're referred to as the Deceivers.
Oh, gee, I wonder why.
I saw that.
Yeah. The Ravnos steal your money, they sell drugs, you let them into your haven, that haven is empty by the time you wake up.
It's true.
MC Ride, he's in my area and wants to meet me. You go outside and all your shit is gone. I live in a low-income housing environment that goes by the government name of Section 8.
You can also tell how long it's taken for this book to be written, because they still have their old flaw in this book, where every Ravnos... Yeah, every Ravnos, their old flaw was that they had to participate in criminal actions, where you were already going to do that as a Ravnos, as a vampire. I mean, crime is part of the game. You think I can legally drink somebody's blood and just get away with that? So this was in development before the Week of Nightmares happened. So that's how long this book was sitting on the shelf.
Well, I mean, it's a very dense read, I will say.
It is a very dense read. That's why we'll start just sending all their books out into start mass publishing everything they had in 2004 because they knew they were about to go under. And
Didn't
oh
really
my
work.
god, that same thing. But they have like the old symbol too. They don't have the pirate wheel.
Oh yeah,
So there
they
we
do.
go. Yeah,
Okay.
it was back when it was the cross.
Yep. So
also notice the setites are missing.
yes, that is true as well.
Yeah, once again, they know that this is a stupid idea. They're not going to go along with it. It's almost like Justin forgot what the fuck he wrote with this book.
Yeah, makes sense.
Did you not have like your own book, your own work as reference when you made V5? You fucking idiot.
He was probably stuck between a lot of other things.
Yes.
Anyway,
We're being generous. All right, let's do it.
a Toreador in proper Toreador fashion, except he's flipping off the camera because he's just so punk and hardcore and shit, and smoking a ciggy.
You sound like such an internet tough guy. You're such an edgy guy.
Yo, dude, I've got like the 20 cigarette adapter.
This is like Tonka saw if he was a liberal.
Kinda, yeah. John, have you ever smoked the 20 cigarette adapter?
I have. It's not very good.
I can't imagine it to be very good. My grandmother said that many you could die of nicotine poisoning.
Yeah, vaping kind of sucks in general.
The 20 cigarette adapter.
The
Anyway,
20 cigarette adapter.
It's just fun to say in all honesty. That
Yeah,
and there's like a 3D printed.
Along with like you taking in like that much nicotine at one time, you get so buzzed you can't even finish the cigarette because of that.
No, like you said, your body would probably just fucking shut down because it can't handle all those chemicals at once.
Like same thing. Like it takes me like with a pack of cigarettes, I'm on my fourth one before I finally feel something. And when I'm at that point, then I stop. If I smoke 20 at the same time, I'm out.
No, dude, I can't
It's like-
fucking do that.
It's like I took an on pouch. One of my coworkers shared his ons with me, and he gave me 2 of the 8 milligrams, and I took both into my mouth at the same time. I felt like I was about to vomit after that.
Yeah, dude, Nick ain't a fucking joke. Like,
It's like it felt like a hand grabbed itself around the bottom of my spine and said, "Something's wrong. Spit that out of your mouth now." When I did,
yeah, it's like I only partake in Nick on very rare occasion. Like, usually only on like a holiday or a special occasion or like a promotion, something to that effect. I have thrown up half of the time I've smoked cigars. Like 3 out of the 6 times total I've ever smoked, I have thrown up those times.
yeah, but I only do it after resets now, and that's it.
Yeah.
I haven't
just the one.
smoked a cigar in like a while,
Yeah.
but
They're-
I used to go through probably a pack.
Oh, damn.
There we go. And what brand was
pack
it?
a month.
What brand?
Fuck if I know. I gave it to a buddy of mine after I stopped smoking.
It better not have been Pall Mall.
Well, no,
No,
it's probably
it
It
was
black.
was cherry.
It
It
was
was cherry flavored.
Cherry
It was like
flavored.
the sticks. Cigars.
probably Swishers.
No, there we go. Those are tasty. But let's.
know. Sorry, I
Toreador.
got off topic with cigars.
We got to talk about smoking. It's a very interesting topic.
Well, I mean, yeah, Romeo Julieta Grand Reserva. That's the good shit.
Yeah.
Toreadors. So Toreador who get involved with Anarchs they're from high society, so they have a hard time adapting to the rough and tumble nature of the Anarch movement. Therefore, their contributions are pretty minor when it comes to the Anarchs. When they do, it's a very big step, and it's them turning their backs on all their traditional comforts of the Camarilla. But when they do become Anarchs, they are usually very skilled diplomats and liaisons, given their high social status. They're able to plead the Anarchs' case in places where they would usually never be invited to. They can round up large amounts of support in liberal societies, and the Toreador understand that the change must occur at all levels of society, despite their posh upbringing. Only the most dense of them will fail, or only the most dense Anarchs will fail to appreciate what they do. Without access to places of power, they really wouldn't be able to get anywhere to begin with. And Toreador ensure that concessions can be made and not threaten the masquerade at the same time. Basically, what few Toreador anti-tribute there are in the Anarchs are preventing the Anarchs from accidentally launching a second Inquisition. So yeah.
Once again,
Thank you,
95% of Toreador are with the Camarilla for a good reason.
Yep, they're good at what they do. And then we have the Tremere. This is an interesting one, and I was surprised to see them on this list.
Notice, the Tremere are on here, the Zimichi aren't. And the only Tremere that joined the Anarchs are Tremere that fucked up with the Camarilla. That's the only reason why you would leave the Camarilla. Because you blew it with them, and now the Anarchs are the only people that will take you in because you're a Tremere.
Well, the strict hierarchy of the Tremere leaves very little room for revolutionaries. Their insular nature endangers suspicion. Though changing the system is infinitely harder than simply simply fucking off and doing your own thing. It leaves very little room for radicals when, pretty much any fuck up will land you on somebody's operating table.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them, with no place left to go, will go rogue and extract themselves from the Tremere pyramid and take their talents to the Anarchs. Hell, even some Tremere are so scary and so thirsty for revenge, so well known for their backstabbing ways that even the Anarchs will drive them out. Although their blood magic does offer a lot of unique tactics to the Anarchs they otherwise wouldn't be able to get a hold of. The only issue with this is that the Tremere who do find themselves with the Anarchs for an extended period of time will only feel themselves as little more than a weapon to them. It'll disillusion the Tremere that believe in the Anarch cause wholeheartedly, and eventually escape the movement and go to Altrakis entirely. It's a very precarious state to be in. It's very reminiscent of the Zamichi Anarch that you came up with. What was her name?
The Zamichi Anarch that I came up with.
Where she felt as if she had no will to live because she was being used as a weapon.
Hera.
That's the one. It's very similar to her and her involvement with the Anarchs because of how rare it is to have a Zamichi join the Anarchs, if at all.
Mm-hmm. And even so, the Zamichi either are with the Sabbat or with themselves, and that's it.
Basically.
And when was the last time you heard of a Zamichi being in the Camarilla?
You
don't.
No, never.
You don't. They don't ever do that. The Zamichi live to hate the Camarilla. They live off of spite alone.
Yeah, spite and power if you're Vigo.
There it is. Along with the Zamichi Antediluvian puppeteering you around like an idiot because he doesn't need you anymore.
Basically.
He doesn't need you anymore.
I don't know. I can't help but like Vigo. He's a motherfucker, but he's a charming motherfucker.
You gotta love like magnificent bastards. Like you're evil, but you're so charismatic in how you're evil. We can't bring ourselves to hate you.
I know. That's the big fucking the conflict I have with Vigo because of like if Colt caught wind of what he did to Freddy, he'd try to kill him, but at the same time
he turned him into a sausage and ate him.
Yeah, basically. But at the same time, it's like, well, I mean, it's Vigo, but at the same time, he's
like
useful.
Handsome Jack.
He really is.
Yeah,
he just really is.
Like, Ham is so good at roleplay, dude.
I wish I could play with Ham more. He's so much fun.
To my own horn for just a minute. I was talking with Anarch after we finished changing today, and she said she's been watching and catching up on Rachel Appalachia, and she says in the pack that we've got, Ends the Road is simultaneously her most loved character and her most hated character.
You play that character to perfection.
Yep. Well, she's based off of like not only like outrage videos I've seen on the internet, but shit like I've heard and seen in real life with the neighborhood I live in.
I mean, yeah, you have that life experience to call upon in order to play her more accurately. With people that, are trying to keep her on a leash, but just can't.
Yeah. Because, for example, in our changing game, like, King of Greed's character talks shit, but then caves in when somebody gets in his face. Instant Road just punches you in the throat the minute you start snapping back.
Yeah, basically.
You gotta love it with this kind of video. Yeah, with this kind of anime. You also notice that the Tremere too don't really have that much of a place in the Anarchs. You're only here because you're Tremere, and that's it.
Yeah, basically.
Where you have thaumaturgy, that's it. That's the only reason why anyone puts up with you in the Anarchs.
Yep. I like how I like their stereotype of the Anarchs. What's your guys' goddamn problem?
You just exist for spite. That's all you do. We're only here because we fucked up. That's it. We probably would have had a better time in the Sabbat.
Yes, the quote is funny as well. Hey, don't blame me. I'm doing the best I can. I left the Chantry before I mastered this ritual, so I'm just sort of making it up as I go along.
Like, but when this book was being written, Goratrix was still alive. You could have joined the Sabbat during this time. But no, you joined the Anarchs. Like an idiot.
I mean, like, short-term solution right there, probably.
Ryan, do you miss Goratrix? No, he's dead.
He
I don't
definitely
know.
died it.
Yeah,
Rip
Goratrix
Ryan.
was a good guy. Ryan, he drank too much of the Dayquil and he fell asleep. No, there he is. He's green.
Who
Goratrix.
who is that?
The Goratrix was Tremir's kiss ass, who, after he chose Atreus as his successor and his favorite, quit the Tremere and then left and took half the clan with him to the Sabbat. So,
Sounds like
Bas-
he made the right decision.
he did make the right decision, yeah. Because after all, Atreus is disgusting, Goratrix is awesome.
Everybody loves Goratrix.
Sure.
Certified
Goratrix.
Goratrix stands in the chat.
He's a smart bastard. That's what he is. Let's talk about this. The Ventrue, you don't look like you're a king. You look like you're a college student.
Yes, I have quite a bit of paperwork for the Anarchs. They aren't very fond of it, but matter of fact, it does make a difference.
I'll have you know that a lot of information about Mao Zedong in America is very misunderstood. He was a man that loved his people.
Nickname, the Aristocrats. Oh boy. The mere consideration that a Ventrue childer would have an issue with their traditional monopoly of wealth and power just incenses the Ventrue on a fundamental level. But it is the iron grip on that power that draws the younger Ventrue into the Anarchs, which happens more often than people would care to admit. The limited resources of power already claimed by the elders of the modern knights are going to stay there and just irk the younger Ventrue neonates to just an outrageous degree, to the point where they just fuck off and leave because they know that they're not going to get that power in another quadrillion years, provided nobody guns them down in the street. And therefore, they want to redistribute that power among the kindred so that maybe the Ventrue can finally get a taste of what is being held from them. But maybe that power is being held up there for a reason. And they never considered that, did they?
It's almost like you're fucking stupid.
The existing power structure is the most frustrating of all the Ventrue who do join the Anarchs, and their ambition, therefore, becomes their whole reason for doing so. Much like the Toreador anti-tribu, they do have access to levels of society that most Anarchs don't. They might not be barred from polite society, but have earned considerable enmity from those still within it. They've sort of stepped away from who they were unborn into, but they feel as if that they can make a change. This is what I was saying earlier about about these kinds of revolutionaries, is that 9 times out of 10 you're either going to wind up with complete fucking chaos or a government 10 times worse than what you started with, and it's all going to be the Ventrue's fault.
These are Ventrue who are active sycophants who want to screw over their local government so they can take control and then become the tyrants that they criticized.
Here, I can do this 10 times better. Accidentally kills millions of people. Tee-hee, I'm such a Virgo.
Like Sebastian LaCroix from Bloodlines is an Anarch Ventrue that is in the Camarilla when really you should get out of the Camarilla because nobody likes a single thing you're doing.
It's not very smart, is he?
That man, he's a terrible example of the Ventrue, and by design, he's an idiot. And then you talked about the Tremere, and you talk to Leopold Strauss, and you figure out that yes, it is you who should be running the Camarilla here. It's a good day to oust your local Ventrue prince and put a Tremere in there instead.
I really should continue the marvelous misadventures of Jess Parker, the Bruja.
It really is one of the best games you'll ever play in your life, dude.
Yes.
It really is.
I just need to make space on my fucking desktop to play it.
I would play it if A, I had a PC, and B, I could stand PC gaming.
Well, I mean, you did okay when I was over.
You remember I said for that keyboard, I said, Kyle, I don't know what the fuck any of these keys do.
WASD to move.
How do I feed? Do I press F?
Hit escape and check keybinds. You hate computers in general.
All right. I do hate computers. I'm not a glass worker.
I think we made the joke before that Johnny and I have become the opposite of what we claim to be. I like the Fianna because of my Irish heritage. And Johnny likes the Glasswalkers because, I don't know, why do you like the Glasswalkers?
Modern Warfare, that's why I like it.
Yeah, because Johnny likes, guns and body augmentations because he thinks they're cool. Meanwhile, I work in IT for a living, and Johnny just bonar maxes all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I shop at Dollar General to get my groceries.
Relatable.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. They have a 5 for 5 sale on Gatorade. I can't pass that up.
I mean, that's not bad in
Right?
all honesty.
Yeah. Let's see, taking a look at what we've got. Their relationship with other splats. I think we've already gone over what they think about the camera on this spot. I think we've
Yes.
already gone over that in detail. So with the others, werewolves, at some point in their lives, an anarch will run into a werewolf. It's unavoidable because of how nomadic they are, or how often the free state collapses, only to reappear somewhere else. You will run into a werewolf in your travels, and when that happens, it will be a horror story. Either you will face final death, or you will be scarred for life, mentally or physically, after the encounter. It's going to happen. Mages, they choose to be ignorant about mages. They don't bother to really understand what they are. They just think they're a Tremere that can walk around during the day. And how wrong they are about that. How wrong they are. Ghosts, they don't believe in ghosts. Full of shit as usual. Hunters, now they fear hunters. That's what they find scary. They look at hunters and say, in groups, you're dangerous. They know that if they kill a member of the FBI, the Leopolds, the Youngbloods, or the Imbued, a bunch of other hunters are going to come after them in retaliation. If you play Bloodlines and you talk to Velvet Velour, she is scared shitless of the hunters. It's all she talks about when you talk with her. And for good reason, because the hunters are making a lot of progress in Hollywood and have her number. They're ready to kill her at any time. It's only you that's preventing that from happening. So yes, fear the Imbued if you are a Canite.
Just
Now, how do you become a
don't
member
be
of
a
the Anarchs?
Canite. It's that easy.
Just don't get embraced. Just don't get embraced. Oh no. The Anarchs just mass embrace with no care. There you have people like Smiling Jack just mass embracing for malicious purposes, but the Anarchs don't care. They say, let's just take the Camarilla's rules for embracing, let's take the Sabbat's rules for embracing, and let's just throw both of them out the window and just embrace whoever we want. And we can make as many kid as we want.
So fucking great for you in Las Vegas.
You end up making your own worst enemy is what happens. Yes.
Oh, look what happened. You gave a hunter in training all of your power and told him exactly how it works. That went great for you, didn't it?
And how do you join the Anarchs? It's as simple as saying, I have no loyalty to the Camarilla, I have no loyalty to Sabbat, I have no loyalty to my clan. You just need to say those 3 things, and you're an Anarch. It's as easy as that. It's that easy. So, how many members of the Anarchs do you think are psychopaths after that interview?
Yes.
And same thing too, because you can just ghoul whoever you want to. So, basically, guys that do very little to uphold the masquerade, very little to uphold each other, and are always out for themselves and only themselves. That's what you got with the Anarchs here.
Yep.
Sounds like a faction that's going to be lasting a long time. I don't see what that free state just keeps collapsing. I don't see why that keeps happening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why guys just pop up in a city and then die after 2 years. I don't see how you couldn't hold on to Los Angeles. I don't see how you lost them to the Kuei Jin.
The Kuei Jin makes more sense.
The Kuei Jin, an invading force that had no stake in America whatsoever, and you just handed them the keys to the American kingdom? You shit me here?
They are kind of scary, though, not gonna lie.
They are scary, but mechanically, they're so much inferior. You have Bruja as your rank and file. You have celerity, and you couldn't handle this? You shitting me, guys? You're so stupid. So stupid, the Anarch faction. It's so stupid.
Well, make it
You want to
better,
talk about
then.
games? What?
Make it better, then.
You want to talk about... The only way you make it better is that you just tear down the entire faction and restart all over again.
There you go. Now you're talking like a true Anarch there. Hell yeah.
There it is. Burn it down. Burn down the burn downers. It's the only way you're going to save this.
Yep.
So, you want to... And how do you sell fights between Anarchs? They just fight. The only thing the Anarchs love killing more than the Camarilla and the Sabbat is each other. Where this is the reason why they're not going anywhere, because the Anarchs are a group of gangs that have no real loyalty to each other. The Baron has no real power, and the Anarchs just kill each other all the time and leave themselves open to be taken over by the Camarilla or Sabbat. Whenever an Anarch free state pops up, you're just preparing an environment for the Sabbat or the Camarilla to take over, and that's it. That's it. That's all you exist for. You put the fries in the bag. You set the city up. You just clean house and then let the faction in. That's all you're good for. That's it. That's
Yep.
it. You want to talk about the games that Anarchs want to play with each other?
Yes.
You want to talk about nines and playing a game of nines? So, Ryan, have you ever played paintball before?
No.
All right. Kyle, have you played paintball?
Yes, I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, and me being a Southern hick, of course I've played paintball in the past. So imagine playing paintball but with real guns.
Lol.
That's what nines
No, wait,
is.
they did that in the episode of Family Guy.
Yeah. As vampires, you know that bullets don't do that much to hurt you unless they're blessed. So what you do is that you go off into the woods or an empty building where the police aren't going to show up. You get some guns, you get a full clip of bullets, and you just take turns shooting each other. And that's it.
That sounds fun.
The only rule with it is don't shoot the head. That's it. If you shoot somebody in the head, that's going to be a problem. And you've also got a variation of this called 69s, where no, it's not a sex game
Are you sure?
with a name like that.
Sounds like a sex game.
Where what a game of 69s is that you fuck somebody, but not in that way. You get a brand new Anarch, you haze them by just bringing them out into the woods, and then everyone else has a gun except for the guy you're hazing. And you just take turns shooting the new Canite, convincing that he's about to die, and then at the end of it, you say, it's just a prank, bro.
Wow, you guys kind of suck.
You realize that. You see how they treat each other.
I'm really glad that I helped Ragnar tear down that faction in Las Vegas by night.
You also got a game of bear baiting, where you go out and you troll a Camarilla or Sabbat member to the point that they chase after you into your free state. And what is supposed to happen is that Camarilla or Sabbat member dies the minute they step into the free state. But in reality, you're just setting up an invasion for the Camarilla or Sabbat, because the Sabbat are going to bring the whole pack with you. The Camarilla are going to bring their money. This is a really stupid thing to do, but you keep doing it.
I mean,
You think you could just
we never said they're smart.
You could just kill him. Yeah, you could just kill a member of the Camarilla or Sabbat and just expect no repercussions. This is what this game is supposed to be. Or we could play a game of Los Angeles Roulette, where two vampires take wooden baseball bats and just beat each other to death with it, and that's the game. You just take turns smashing each other over the head with a baseball bat until either one of you falls in a torpor or both of your bats break, and that's the game.
Yep.
So you're noticing that this is the same as like a hill giant game from D&D, where it's almost identical to that. And finally, you have a game of gotcha, where you go over to a mortal, you convince that mortal that they accidentally killed you, and then you try making the mortal feel as bad as possible until you can't stop yourself from laughing and you say, oh, it's just a prank, bro.
I mean, this all sounds pretty standard for dumbasses.
Where these guys just like a bunch of assholes, don't they? You're not some spiritual moment. You're just a bunch of dicks, and that's it.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do when there's no law and order?
See, you also got character creation, where it's weird how they have it set up. It's attributes 653, skills 1285, but you have 4 points in discipline, 6 points in backgrounds, and 7 points in virtues, and 18 freebie points, which is not how you usually do it, but it's a little bit interesting that you got different means of character creation. If you want to have weaker stats but better disciplines, I guess it's cool.
Weird.
And there's a whole section in this book about character creation, just in case this is your first vampire book you're buying in 2002. When I don't know, I guess they don't have any other book in stock. I'm burping. There's so much gas coming out of my mouth right now. I'm trying to speak.
Well, stop shaking the orange juice.
I already drank it all.
Okay.
And let's get into locations. By the way, Kyle, can you scroll down to page 97 in the book, 98 in the PDF?
Indeed.
Yeah. All right. So you see that picture?
Of the Komodo dragon? Or the lizard?
Yeah, like that rare picture.
What the fuck is that?
Do you think that's Macaulay?
It might be, and I think it's really funny.
Yeah. I wonder why the Lion aren't doing too well. Oh, I wonder why. Macaulay. He's going over here. He's giving you little snuzzles.
Tastes like chicken.
While I have that picture up, Ryan, name 3 places in the world. Where would you like to go first?
Where would I like to go?
Yeah, where would you like to go to find out about Anarchs first?
Oh,
Yeah,
hmm.
where should we go first? We're
England.
giving England. England. We get to learn about the English vampire. It's Cork's wife. It's Cork's world over here. We're going to tell you about the latest things that's going
I
on
have
with the
a
British Defense
feeling
Force.
they're prominent in England.
Let's see, Kyle, I have a question for you. Is Tommy Robinson controlled opposition?
Tommy Robinson?
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't he messaging an underage person on Grindr?
No, I think that might have been a smear campaign, but it's possible.
No, I think he's just gone off the deep end like everybody else that got a lot of wind in their sails in 2016.
So looking at this, all right. So England, do you want to know about Ireland or just just England in general? Okay, let's take a look at this. So with we know in the general world of darkness that this area is pretty much under complete control of the Black Spiral Dancers, and on the above ground of the underworld, it's the Camarilla that controls this place. The United Kingdom used to be the central home of a global empire, and now it's just a bunch of shit. Would you like to go to England? The correct answer is no.
Oh, maybe.
Just don't go to England right now.
I'd like to go back to Ireland. I miss Ireland.
Yeah, I went to Scotland. It was a tourist trap.
Ireland's much nicer.
Let's see. So the British Isles and the Irish Isles are divided into 2 basic areas. First, you've got London, which is this massive stronghold for the Camarilla. The Camarilla are there to stay. Nobody in the Sabbat or the Anarchs can invade this place. It's just too held down. But further up in Scotland, where you've got Edinburgh, it's a little less controlled. You do have Camarilla there, and occasionally an Anarch or Sabbat member will try to invade it, but the Camarilla will always take it back at the end of the day. For the Irish Isles, well, this was written when the IRA was on the mind of everybody who wrote for Werewolf. So really it's the Fianna that's doing this, but some of the stuff is contributed to the Anarchs in this area, where the Camarilla have it under control, but occasionally something crazy will happen where the Camarilla will need to call in their boys and then get it cleared up again and back under Camarilla control. But there is an Anarch movement in Ireland that's trying to take footing, but it's just not going to go anywhere because the Camarilla have been here for too long. It ain't going to happen. You're going to have to team up with the Fianna if you want to do that.
You're just trying to fund this. It'd be fun. Trust us.
Did you ever see the Crying Game?
I did not know.
Check it out. Check the movie out, by the way. That's one of my favorite movies that I saw with my mom because of just how much she screamed during the reveal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil the twist, but
Okay.
it was one of my favorite movie experiences because of that. Ryan, where else in the world do you want to go?
Let's head over to. Let me look at a map.
To where? You can go anywhere we want to go. Just you point out where it is.
I typed in world and it took me to World Anvil.
There it is, World Anvil. This video is sponsored in part by World Anvil. You want to keep your notes together? Cool, so do I, but you don't want to have a notebook where you can just do this shit for free? Well, just pay us to do it. Kyle, it's so easy to separate a man from his money. It is so easy to do that. It is so easy to do that.
It is. Yeah, just go Google Maps and then just look at places.
There it is.
Let's go to Turkey.
Turkey?
Gobble, gobble.
Well, I was just looking at Turkey. What empire used to control this place?
The Ottoman Empire.
Yes, but the Ottomans aren't around anymore, right?
Yes. Except Turkey makes a brand new turkey.
So in Istanbul, formerly known as Constantinople, you used to have a decent Camarilla stronghold here. Not necessarily the Camarilla, like Proto-Camarilla, where the Ventru controlled this place. But nowadays, it's still Camarilla, but it's not nearly as strong as it used to be. This used to be the center of the world. It's not anymore. Where are the Anarchs trying to take over this place? Yes, but the Camarilla have a bigger fish to fry in the Assamites, who are trying to take control of this place. They want Turkey. They want Turkey so damn bad, but the only thing that's keeping the Assamites from taking over is Camarilla money. They're paying off the Assamites to prevent them from taking over. As for Anarchs, there are no Anarchs over here. The Assamites killed them all. I wonder how. I wonder how that was made possible.
That went very, very poorly for them, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, hey
And
guys,
one
fuck the government.
See, I don't know who's protecting you from the Assamites.
There's always a
You-
bigger fish.
If you get rid of the government, who's going to protect you from terrorists? Who's going to do that?
Me with my AR-15, buddy.
Pay this man to save your life. And
Yeah.
where should we go last, Ryan? Where's the
Let's head down to Chile.
Chile? See,
They have good
South
wine
America.
down there.
See, every election got the corrupt candidate. Holy shit! I think I accidentally moved to Chile.
Yes. All you need to
I
do is
love
go
it.
to Argentina and just, install Javier Milei,
There it is. You're a big fan of that man, right?
I don't know how much about him except that he's,
Yeah.
gutted his government, which is kind of based.
There it is. All this money you're going to save.
Yeah, they're doing good.
Looking at this, don't tell me this book doesn't have anything on South America in it. Don't tell me.
I thought I
we
saw it.
We got North America. We've got a lot of stuff in North America. Come on, the big horse's ass. Where is this? There's so much stuff about North America specifically. Well, of course, that's because that's where the Anarchs are.
It's
at their
above North
strongest.
America.
All right, we got Mexico. We got nothing on South America. You fucking jackass.
Just do
It's
Mexico then.
above.
Okay, well, I guess you're going to go to Ethan Ralph territory then.
It's
Alright.
above North America. It's middle
Alright.
and South America.
All right, so Mexico. Who controls Mexico?
The cartels.
The Sabbat,
Oh.
and it will always be the Sabbat. The Anarchs keep trying to form a free state here. It's never going to happen. The Sabbat always kill them. They
Doesn't
just
seem
keep,
to go well for them, does it?
it's just keep getting smoked. It's because the Sombra came down here and actually accomplished something. That's why. And that's why Mexico will never be taken by the Camarilla. It will be Sabbat forever, baby. Ride
Very
or
happy
die.
about that.
Let's do it.
And the only
Sabbat
option is
forever.
ride. So, yes, the only way the Anarchs will have territory is in America. They will never have anywhere else. Never have any other territory. They keep popping up and then they die. That's the story with the Anarchs.
I gotta start doing sleeper cells or something.
Exactly. Like, if you guys were organized and intelligent, you could actually make some progress here, but you're stupid. You're stupid, that's it.
What's 9 plus 10?
21?
You stupid.
You're stupid. And there's an entire section in this book, too, about what is your modern Anarch game going to look like? And I can tell that Justin wrote this part. Where he said, your opponent's your game are the Camarilla, the government, companies, rich people, and these are like the actual things that he wrote in this book. So even the Anarchs don't even know what they're doing anymore. You don't know why the free state exists anymore. You just exist to get filtered, and that's it.
I mean, yeah.
Even in their own guidebook, dude, these guys come off as a bunch of asses. And legacies and undeath. Apparently, there's like new disciplines being developed and researched in the Anarchs, and that's the one thing they really got going for them. But the guy that wrote this, it is so obvious that a Mage the Ascension writer wrote this, because you've got hybrid disciplines where you got like Fortitude 1, Protean 4. Get this shit out of here. I'm playing Vampire the Masquerade. If I want to play Mage the Ascension, I would play Mage the Ascension. Get this out of here. The Thin Blood book had a new discipline with kineticism. I'm not doing this shit, man. I'm not reading this part. Get the fuck out of here. I ain't doing this. You want to talk about nomadic Anarchs?
Well, yes.
So if you have no city, which is going to happen to you at some point, how are you going to survive?
I steal a couple of trucks and hit the road.
But what's going to stop the werewolves from killing you?
Getting to another place that has, places to stay.
See, Kyle, in page 195 of this PDF, pull up that picture.
195, you said?
Yes.
Oh, that's a little rough.
Yeah, take a look at that. That's what's waiting for you in the country.
That's what's waiting for us in Appalachia. That's going to be raw as hell.
See, Ryan, you see this picture?
I'm pulling it up now.
Yeah. You see this picture? Now, take your bet. Who is going to die in that picture? One of these guys will not make it out. That Garu will catch up to somebody.
Looks like the person in the car is about to get really fucked up.
That person in the car, he's going to land on like Batman.
Yeah.
Honestly,
gonna
we
rip
should
that.
crop this with a parental advisory sticker. I think it'd go hard.
That would be awesome. It's the hardest rap album of 2002.
Yep.
Have this be our cover for MF Doom mixtape.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sick.
Put the mask on that werewolf. Put it on him.
Yes, just put the MF Doom mask on a werewolf.
So how do you go about this? Well, the basics. As a nomadic anarch, you just sleep wherever you find a place to sleep for that night. You either squat in a man's house, you either find an abandoned gas station, you find a shipping container, you find a electrical tower that you can just dig a hole under. You do the basic gangrel practice of digging a hole in the woods and burying yourself alive. And that's what you do.
If it works,
Well,
it works.
if you're a brujat and you don't have the claws that a gangrel can make for themselves, well, what you do is you got a body bag. You heard about going to sleep in a sleeping bag? Guess what? You get a literal body bag from a morgue. You zip yourself up in it. You roll over so the zipper isn't facing upwards, and you day sleep like that.
You should at least have a tent, I think.
That would make sense too, but I'm looking at this whole section and saying, what's stopping a human from just walking up to you and unzipping the bag?
It's under you.
Yeah. Like, once again, that feels like the masquerade is very easy to breach if you're an anarch.
Well, here's the thing. It's you got to have actual sleeping gear, and then you put the body bag on, and then put a pillow and in the sleeping bag, so it looks like you're just in a sleeping bag.
So that's something that they advise too, where they say get a camo print Eureka tent, or cover yourself in a clump of bushes or leaves. Try to hide yourself the best you can, because if a human sees you, they're going to call the police, and then you're going to get sunburnt.
Yep.
Incredible. And then quick fixes where they would not recommend doing this, but if you need to take out a hotel, make sure that you've got a lot of duct tape with you to tape up that window so the sunlight doesn't smite you the first thing in the morning.
Or you can go to a place that actually has good fucking blinds on it, and you're okay.
You go into the bathroom and you sleep in a bathtub in a hotel.
Oh, yeah, how much sunlight needs to be in the room to fucking kill you? Is it just the edge? Will the edges of the blinds having a little bit of light kill you?
The beam, if it touches you, it starts incinerating you.
So yeah, as long as the blinds are closed, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You can survive being hit with a UV beam, a UV light. You can survive that. It will hurt. It'll be uncomfortable, but you can survive it. If light directly from the sun hits your body, the direct ray or beam hits you, it starts to incinerate you.
Yeah, so just thick fucking blinds.
You do what Spoonie does, where you just become an internet influencer. You get sleep. You get the dark blinds and just hold up in your room all day and stream, and that's all you do.
My room gets 0 light visibility from outside.
There it is.
It's great.
It's very helpful when you're working a night shift job. I did that for 2 years. I would never recommend it to anybody.
I did that for 5, 6.
There it is. Now,
I worked overnight at Home Depot, and honestly, it was one of the chillest jobs I've ever had.
It's easy work. It's easy. It gives you good pay, but it's socially alien to you like nothing else.
I can't do it anymore. I couldn't. That's why I got my first shift job.
Yeah,
but
I want to talk to people. I want to be able to do chores.
That's the thing, is that I worked that it was Monday through Friday, so I still had weekends, and it's actually kind of nice, especially when you're in college. You have plenty of time during the day to do your work, and then you go to work at night.
Yeah.
And then the last suggestion that they have for you is get a Volkswagen van, black out all of your windows, set up a tent or a buyback in that, and then just road life off of it.
Hey,
Sounds chill.
Just hope that no police officer tries to inspect your car on the side of the road, or anybody tries to tow you either.
See, that's why you go to free parking.
Is it? You park in the parking lot of a Family Dollar. Nobody will bother you there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there it is. Aren't there like some cars out there too where you can knock out the back seats and climb into a trunk?
Yeah, you get like a Honda Odyssey or something like that.
Yeah, that's the car you want to drive.
Or Chevy
Where
Tahoe.
you got like your truck freak gangrel doing that.
Yep. Truck freak. Crazy ass. The fighter.
You just get your Ford F-150 and climb into the back of it every night.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, in all honesty, like if there was a zombie survival car I'd pick, it would be a Chevy Tahoe.
Mhm. I'm thinking about purchasing a truck too, but I just want to try to find one at a decent price and be able to finance it.
Get a Ford if you're get a Ford or a Toyota if you're gonna get a truck because
Yeah, I am
Chevy's
considering a
rust.
Ford. Yeah.
I have a Chevy.
See, and there it is. And when are you going to trade it in, Ryan?
It was a trade-in.
Yeah. We'll trade it back in. You can do better than this.
No, it's just that with all my experience, like I've had Tahoes, I've had Rusterados. They Chevys just rust.
Mine hasn't rust yet. I bought it in 2019.
I'm surprised to hear that.
See, now with feeding on the road, how hard do you think it is going to be to hunt?
Not very.
Not very.
Where
I have experience with this.
it's even harder to hunt actually, because with a vampire, if you're in New York City, you can just attack them on the street and then just get away with it. The police have too much stuff to worry about. But on the side of the road, the police are going to respond to that call. You can't just walk into a convenience store, eat a man's blood, and then just walk out. Like even like the Sonic bathrooms have cameras right in front of the bathroom door. You can't just get away with that. So what you usually end up doing is you hunt animals. You just gotta find an animal out in the woods and then hope you come across it in time. And
or just be smart about it.
now imagine just how much your life sucks if you're a nomadic adventurer.
Oh yeah, with a feeding restriction, fuck that.
Yeah, that is gonna suck. You're probably gonna go to torpor if you go into this kind of life.
Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna suck.
It would be better if you just got on your knees and crawled back to the Camarilla Sabat. Just admit you're wrong. That's all you gotta do. Just admit you're full of shit. That's it.
Yep.
But in the event you go into an urban area, you're probably just gonna like, I don't know, wait outside somebody's house and then jump them as you're going to their door after a day's work. Or you jump a guy that's got a third shift job heading to work and just quickly leave. Now, granted, it's harder and harder to do this because you got Ring doorbell cameras everywhere. So, it's becoming a little bit hard to be a vampire in the modern night.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, Weaver. Very cool.
Yeah, there it is. The Weaver screws over her best creation.
It's true.
Yep.
It's true.
And in the event you can rob a hospital, do so, steal as many blood bags as possible, then run. That would be your preferable asset.
In and
There's
out,
also
20-minute adventure.
There's even a segment in here about, I don't know, being a Anarch invading a hospital and you attack a patient in a hospital and then quickly run like hell afterwards.
Kind of fucked up.
Or what else would be a good thing to hunt? A trucker.
Make your way down to the coma ward.
Yeah. Go ahead and do it. Yeah, nobody's going to catch you.
Yep. Go into the bathroom and done.
And what are you going to do in the country? I don't know, just go from house to house in somewhere like, I don't know, what's a place? Rockwell, for me, for instance. Where you just go from farmhouse to farmhouse, invading people's homes, attacking them in their sleep and drinking their blood and then dipping as soon as possible.
You could do that, or again, you could hang out by the bars. Small towns like that have a lot of drunks.
Yeah. A lot of like shitty bars that you go to, and that's your one place to drink.
Yeah.
It's cheaper just to buy a 12-pack and then drive home and then just drink that. But they say, be careful out in the country because besides werewolves, everybody in the sticks or boonies seems to own a gun for some reason.
Obviously.
Yeah. And if you're hunting a guy, if you just happen to break into like the house of like a deranged MAGA man who has a shotgun and he just happens to hit you in the head, it's over.
Yep. I mean,
Kyle, you remember how many times you had to redo that fight in the diner because one guy had a shotgun?
yeah, basic. That was rough. I mean, there was also when, fucking Clef one-tapped a Primogen with a shotgun.
Yeah, that was it. You land a good hit on that, that's it. Nothing is more dangerous than the World Darkness than a shotgun.
I'm gonna say, Clef's one of my favorite kills with Clef's is shoving my arm down the guy's gullet.
And then Blown come up with crit elements.
Yeah.
And what else is there to eat us on the road, Anarch? How about a chicken heart? You want to go into like a man's farm, into a slaughterhouse, and you find his meat hanging on the hooks, and you just want to like suck the blood out of the meat.
I mean, as long as you're not there when he shows up, you're fine.
You remember when we were playing Las Vegas by Night and like Dentis was drinking the blood out of a rotisserie chicken?
Wait, what?
Did he do that?
He did that. Yeah, he went into the butcher section and bought a rotisserie chicken and just drank the blood out of it.
I didn't think it had any. If it's a rotisserie chicken, it's already cooked.
It is. It's more like a shitty grocery store that we went to.
Yeah, you don't say.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be a rotisserie chicken. It'll just be like a whole chicken. That's it.
Yep, bro just bought a chicken and just walked out with it.
It's like his lips around the chicken, just eating it. It looks like he's got pica. And what else is there to do? So what do you think is going to be important to have as a nomadic anarch?
A gun.
Yes.
A gun.
A car.
An umbrella. There we go.
Tools. You want to have a screwdriver, a hammer, motor oil, pliers, a wrench, coolant. The auto zone, you want to get to auto zone before it closes. When the first thing you want to do when you wake up as a vampire, go to auto zone.
Yep. Get in the zone. Auto zone.
Have a spare tank of gas in your back seat, and hope that the human hunter doesn't use that on you when they discover your body.
Yep.
See, I wouldn't put it in the back seat. I put it in the trunk.
That'd be a good spot to put it. Put a little cap on it too. What else? A cordless drill, hasp, a padlock, duct tape, anything you need to do for redneck ingenuity. Why is pay a man to fix it when you can just duct tape it back together?
Not a little duct tape won't fix.
See, a cooler for all of your beer. Actually, it's for your blood bags and the human hearts that you're stealing.
I mean, beer's
You
good
hide
too.
those.
I
hide those
beer.
under the beer.
Yeah. You put the beer on top of the hearts and blood bags that you're drinking.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. How else is a vampire supposed to have a pint?
I'm imagining now like a vampire
keep it
drinking
cold.
blood out. Imagine like a vampire drinking blood out of an Aquafina bottle.
That's kind of funny, actually.
That's the best he's got.
It's a bottle of Bloody Mary.
Yep.
See, and money, right?
Yes.
See, the only way you're going to get this gas or all these tools is if you have money with you. So expect to do a lot of robberies if you're a nomad, or a lot of shoplifting.
Yeah.
So there we go. You think you can survive as a nomadic anarch?
Might be a minute, but yeah, I think I'll be okay.
And
I think I can as well.
See, has also got like a big list of how to make money as an anarch. The first thing to say is gambling. That's the first thing you want to do. Kyle, what's your favorite gambling game?
Texas Hold'em.
All right, Ryan, how about you?
I would have to say the same.
I remember a funny story about work. Me and my partner, the person I was partnered with that day, we were blowing through accounts super quickly that day because the route's like fairly easy. A lot of people start their own stuff. So she goes over to an ATM, withdraws $40, goes over to a slot machine. We start playing it.
Nice.
And she went in with $40. She left with 60.
Hey, all right.
There it is. You know, like the gas stations have slot machines in them where you just go over. Like it's
Those are
never
always
Circle
really
K.
sketch to me for some reason.
Yeah, it's never Circle K. It's always an an independent store that has that. And that's the first thing you want to do. The other thing you want to do, you want to get FanDuel. You want to start sports betting. That's what you want to start getting into. Or you can go on to it's only available in 6 states, I think. They're virtual blackjack tables.
Oh
You start
yeah.
making your money that way. Having a debit card or a Visa card is going to be very helpful for you.
Yeah, I agree.
Or alternatively, you could just hang out at a local pool hall and just like bet money on your billiard table.
Just become the hustler like Paul Newman. That'd be great.
Yeah, if you're in Vietnam, like the deer hunter, you can just make money off of Russian roulette. You won't lose.
I mean, you could
Really?
pretend to lose and then show up the next day to confuse the shit out of everybody.
You'll get shot, but you can just get up and play again the next day.
I don't know. Look, I feel like they'd be freaked out if you did that. That'd break the masquerade. Not that you care as an Anarch, but at the same time, they just all start shooting you, I think.
Well, they just saw what one bullet did. I don't they shoot at you.
Yeah, but the knee-jerk reaction when somebody comes back from being shot in the head a day later, what the fuck do you think their immediate reaction is going to be?
It's gonna be, holy shit, you want to play again?
Oh my god, demon, kill it. And then you're down with the count with like 80 bullets in you.
You've got instances of people surviving getting shot in the head. Like the nastiest fucking video I've ever seen in my life was somebody who in Russia who did the running McNutt, but he survived.
Frank has to
That's
survive.
terrifying.
Yeah. Like the guy's like bottom jaw was missing. All like only his molars were left. You could see like his tongue, what was left of it, moving as he was trying to speak. And oh my god, it was nasty. I had to close my browser after seeing that. Ew.
I don't know why you would look that up in the first place.
I was on like a public freakout, like back when Reddit was cool. One of those subreddits where, like you got live leak re-uploads, and that was on there.
Classic.
And you can't post stuff on Reddit anymore. What else is on here? Kyle, how much stolen stuff have you bought off of Facebook Marketplace?
I honestly haven't bought anything off Facebook Marketplace. I thought I was going to when I moved out, but not as much as I thought.
Or like Craigslist, you go to a flea market and everything you buy there is stolen from somewhere.
I think the last thing I bought off of Craigslist was, I think, an N64 game cartridge. The guy even sent me like a nice little note with it. So yeah.
I bought a PS1.
So it says theft is a thing you want to do as an Anarch. So what you want to do in California, of course, you can steal anything under $900 and you won't be prosecuted for it. But in New York, you will not be prosecuted for petty theft if you're under 21. So you get your child that you ghoul, you get him to steal a TV for you, and he just walks out of the Walmart with it, and then you sell it on Facebook Marketplace for cash.
Genius.
That's what you do. Thing you want to do if you live in New York as an Anarch, get Dominate. As soon as possible, develop that discipline.
Hey,
that's
correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny, but was it us who was talking about like making a compound in Vermont and then just sending down groups of people to shoplift from New York?
Yeah, that's exactly it. We thought the hustle.
Do the hustle.
We also thought about taking over North Korea by sending scorpions to North Korea, because there is no creature there that hunts a scorpion in North Korea.
I mean, that'd have some devastating environmental impacts on the rest of Southeast Asia, but you know.
But we will be fighting communism.
That is true, and you know what? The planet is expendable when you're fighting communism, as we found out with mutually assured destruction.
Praise be to the scorpion. What else is there to make money as Anarch? Drugs. You want to start getting into the drug game?
Either you're slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot.
You're over here as your Bruja or Gangrel, and you're just making meth in the middle of the woods. And then you sell it. Or come to think of it, that would be not difficult at all to come across as a vampire.
No.
Where you just go, you could just like make like a fake like bogus drug and put your Vitae in it and get people ghouled off of that and get consistent buyers, because all they can think about is you after they take the Vitae.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Also, you can do prostitution. Well, one of the accounts I went to, dog, it was crazy. Like the salesman I was partnered with that day looked over and said, "Hey, you see that woman over there?" I said, "Yeah." She says, "Look at this." And we just saw this woman where she had like a big ass with Daisy Dukes and stockings walking across in front of all these trucks with truckers in them. And a trucker flashed their high beams at her. She walks into the truck with the guy, and then they both drive away.
Nice.
She's a hooker. Yeah, she's like when you're on the road as a hooker, when you're on the road as a trucker, you tend to get pretty lonely and pretty horny. So it's a very good way for prostitutes to make their money. So that's what
And
you want to do.
probably
You want to,
hitchhike as well.
yeah, you want to pay a vampire for sex is what you get. And that's an easy way to make money.
Toreador in a nutshell.
There it is. All these truck stops are just gay meetups at the end of the day.
I mean, yeah.
And there we go. And of course, there's a whole section in this book saying, if you're a nomadic werewolf, if you're a nomadic anarch, at some point you will encounter a werewolf. It's unavoidable. So what do you do when that happens?
Pray.
Yes.
Or
That's your
hope that a
best option.
gangrel is with you.
Hope that you are the gangrel.
Yep, you just go, hey, look, I don't want any trouble. If this is your land, we'll fuck off by tomorrow. We're not going to hurt anybody. We're just passing through.
And that's it with the book. We finally reached the end.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
and there's a whole character sheet at the back, and then that's it.
Yep.
So, Kyle, you are thinking about running Miami by Night soon.
Yes.
We are using Anarch faction in that.
We haven't decided yet, but it's leaning towards that way.
See more likely. And what gravitated you towards the Anarchs for that?
Well, in all honesty, I let you guys pick because, I didn't, because we were just figuring out how to play Vampire when we did Las Vegas by Night. That was a great idea, but I feel like a unity within the coterie would help us out a lot in terms of building a cohesive story.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play a Red Nose.
I mean, that'd be good too.
Let's see.
We're gonna
what kind of Ravnos? Let's see. Will you be the Gypsy love song Ravnos or the Indian Ravnos?
The gypsy,
I don't know yet.
The acid queen, she tears your soul apart.
They would sing to me a little Gypsy love song like these. Listen.
Oh wait, I think didn't what was his name? We played Jack Sparrow.
Johnny Depp.
Didn't Johnny Depp play a gypsy in that movie Chocolata?
Let's see, I'm pulling this up.
I have no idea.
He played a movie in what was this? Where the Road Bends.
Is that it? Where he played a gypsy?
Yeah.
I could have sworn that was Chocolat, but
yeah. But he played one in something.
Yeah.
Also, don't you ever ask an Eastern European what they think about them.
No. It if Rob Red has had to hold himself back. I can't say I blame him. I appreciate his sacrifice.
I remember that conversation too.
Good Lord. But no, it's like for the Anarchs, I am genuinely excited because like an 80s campaign is an Anarch. That means, God damn it, I love it. I hate it because now I get to use more punk music, but I can't because it's probably copyrighted by now. Like, I would have been able to play, like, fucking Sonic Reducer and the Dead Kennedys, and it would have been awesome.
Royalty-free, mother lover. You gotta go and you gotta find Incompetech kind of music.
I don't give a fuck. I like copyrighted music.
Or you go out and you find, like, a mid-eye file of it. That won't get content ID.
Yeah, I know. I just... That's my biggest drawback. It's like, I like copyrighted music because,
Kyle, you can run a Flash game, can't you?
What do you mean?
Punkomatic 2 on Newgrounds.
Oh, yeah, I have Flashpoint, so I could just make
You could just make your own.
Or I could just record my own music for the fucking...
We could do that, yeah.
Or I could find some real gnarly underground shit and use that and use the channel as an avenue to promote them.
You remember Berserk 1996 is one of the best soundtracks in the world, and it's only 10 songs, and that's it.
I mean, I didn't watch Berserk, so...
So we only need like 10 tracks and that's it. Because what made that anime so intimate is that so many of the scenes were just in dead silence. So
well, I mean, in 1980s Miami, it's gonna be hard to do that without like the sound, because the soundtrack of the 80s fucking makes it,
Mm-hmm. We just gotta go up and find like generic songs. I don't think it will get content ID'd, but I think Hotline Miami is fun to play.
Yeah, that'll definitely play when we get to Miami.
Yeah, because I don't think any of these guys are assholes that content ID and block videos.
No.
Mm.
But yeah,
So we
the
just gotta find
Anarch
we
faction.
just gotta find a bunch of underground synthwave if that's what we gotta do.
Yeah, the Anarch faction. They're not good people, but you
They're
should play
not.
them.
They're not. So you can understand what it means to be wrong and admitting that you're wrong about something.
Yes, so play
Yeah.
it for that.
This is you're stupid, and yeah, that's all you're ever gonna be.
Yes. Good night, everybody.
All right, I've run my throat
good.
raw from hollering.
Yes.
That's it.
Good night, everybody.
GN, everyone at home, and Happy New Year.
Happy
Good
New
night.
Year.
Happy New Year.